So the first thing you want to do is get your grip tape on your board and equip your metal file. So what you want to do is file downward, and when you come back up, don't touch the grip tape. So only touch the grip tape when you file down. So down, back up. So don't go back and forth sanding, just go one way. And go down against the board. And go all the way around. These are helpful because you can use this rounded side to hit in these spots. Let's see, maybe we can do it all in one piece. Anywhere it's still stuck, just sand a little bit more. And it will come right off. And there we go. Just like Leonardo da Vinci, we have carved this beautiful, perfect grip tape out of this square piece. And it's beautiful. And that's how it's done, people. So get yourself some metal files. They make this so easy. See you next time. Peace. Yo, what's up, y'all? Back again for a quick video today. This time, we're gonna talk about tips for filming. Don't forget to visit the website. I got plenty of concrete for sale. I can ship out customs within 2 to 3 days, and every order comes with free bushings. So, if you want to start with absolutely no supplies, just your phone, here's some tips. So, shoot with your phone upside down and turn the flash on. For some phones, you have to physically cover the lens for the flash to get the flash to come on, so I'm going to do that here. Also, make sure your phone is set to slow-mo, and if you can, set it to the widest possible angle you can get. On this new iPhone here, you can do 0.5 magnification or 1x magnification, and I do 0.5 because, as you can see, you can capture way more. Set it to 0.5, get the flash on, and turn your phone upside down. That makes it way easier to capture tricks. So filming yourself in landscape mode can be a little more challenging. Just holding the phone that way for some reason feels a little bit harder. If you have the half magnification, that really helps. Or if you can get a clip-on fisheye lens, that helps a lot as well. So if you want to be a little bit extra, like I said, you can get the clip-on fisheye. I got this from Amazon. It was 30 bucks, but it came with 3 different lenses. So I actually have 2 different wide-angle lenses and a macro lens. It's really cool just for taking pictures and taking videos in general. And it works great for fingerboarding, because as you can see here, when you just have the regular 1x magnification on, you can't really see much, and then when you put this on, you can see way more of what's going on around you, and it works way better for capturing tricks. So you can get the fisheye lens, or you can also get a tripod, like a phone tripod. This is pretty cool, because you can just put your phone in here, set it up anywhere you want, and just film and not have to worry about following yourself. So that makes things a little bit easier too. So I shoot all of my clips in slow-mo, and once I get the clip that I want, I go to that one, I hit edit, and I isolate the one clip that I want out of this big piece. What that does, it just gets rid of a lot of data that I don't need, saves a lot of space on my phone, and makes the clip easier to edit, and you'll see why in a second. So you want to save the video as a new clip. You can go ahead and delete the old one. And with that new one, of course, you're going to want to flip it around because you probably shot it upside down. Get a better angle that way. And then you'll see the timeline is way easier to control to slow-mo. You just have way more breathing room. It's much easier to get it precise where you want it. And it just makes things look a lot prettier too. And that's pretty dope. So go ahead and save that, and there's our clip right there. Premiere is pretty much my favorite editing software. It's super easy to use, pretty intuitive. So because I isolate and split all my clips all on my phone, there's really not much work to do once I get it into the editor. You pretty much just get them in there, get them in the order you want, put some music in there, hit export. Super easy stuff. Because I prepare the clips so much, it's also pretty easier to just use the YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok editor. It's pretty much the same process. You just put them in there, pick the music you want, and upload it. TikTok's nice too, because if you upload a video there, you can go ahead and save it with the music and everything and go ahead and upload that to different platforms, and it just works to kind of get the video all in one place. Whereas on YouTube, for instance, if you upload the video, you can't download it to your phone again. So it's not as easy to share. So depending how much B-roll I have or how fancy I want to get, that'll kind of determine where I edit my clips. If I have a lot of B-roll and like a lot of music I want to cut together, then I'll probably use Premiere Pro just because I can get in there and be more precise with my editing. But if I just have some clips I want to string together, throw some music on there, maybe one or two clips of B-roll, then I'll probably use the Instagram editor and just save the video and then upload it to different platforms from there. So depending how much footage I have, that'll kind of determine where I edit. Because I've noticed if I have like more than 8 to 10, 12, 15 clips, then it seems to almost like the editors on the Instagram or TikTok will kind of like give out after a certain amount of time. Whereas if I do it on the computer, it's no problem. I can have as many cuts and clips as I want. On the iPhone, you can only do one slow-mo per clip. So if I have a clip, like a combo, and I want to do 2 slow-mos, then I'll definitely take that into Premiere and just do both slow-mos there so they're both uniform and consistent. So following yourself is kind of one of those things that you have to get used to. But you get used to it pretty quick. I haven't been doing this that long, and people say my stuff looks pretty dope. I think a lot of it is attributed to the filming, so it's not that hard to get the hang of, is my point. Oh, one thing too that I heard, when I was trying to learn how to do this, I watched that David Jones video where he discusses the same topic, how to film fingerboarding. And one thing he says in that video that really helped me out is like, so this hand is your skateboarder, and this hand is your filmer hype man dude. So I don't know, that advice resonated with me a little bit. I don't know why. Maybe you'll think it's dumb, but I thought it was pretty cool, and it just kind of helped me kind of get used to doing that, you know, because like, you know, this hand is your filmer hype man guy. You know, he has a role to play too, or she has a role to play too. It's fun when you think about it that way, because I like thinking about fingerboarding as miniature skateboarding. So if you you know, picture this hand as actually being a filmer, you know, you're paying attention to your angles and you're trying to really follow them and capture the action. It kind of makes things a little more fun. I don't know. Depending on how wide you can get your phone, that'll kind of determine how far away you want to stay. But always make sure you're in focus when you go to follow yourself, and try to maintain the same distance. So I guess, like, you know, pay attention to where your posture kind of is, and let this hand be your kind of free hand, and let, you know, everything just kind of follow. One thing I would say to pay attention is just try not to go out of frame. So you want to be close, but not too close, because you want to actually see the flips and see things as they happen. You also kind of want to capture your hand too, so make sure you're not just capturing the board. You want to see what your hand's doing too. So keep that all in mind. Use different angles to experiment around. Sometimes I film myself like this. Sometimes I film myself like this. Sometimes I'm over here. Sometimes I'm over here. Sometimes I'm really up close. I go over here. Just depending what I want to do. So play around with different angles and different ways of doing it. And just make sure you're doing it like in an artful way, in a way that looks aesthetic and looks good. And watch some real skateboarding videos too. Watch the angles that they're doing, how they're capturing tricks, because that'll definitely help you. Like if you're trying to capture some grind in a stair set and you see in a video that they got it from a stationary angle, maybe you're better setting up your shot that way instead of trying to kill yourself, following yourself every single time. You know, pay attention to how real skateboarders and how real skate videos are filmed, because that'll really help influencing your stuff. And also, take a look at your favorite fingerboarders. Look at how they're filming. That'll help you a lot. There's a couple of fingerboarders on Instagram that particularly, I saw their filming styles, and that kind of sucked me into fingerboarding, as I was like, oh wow, like that just looks so cool. Like I want to be able to do that too. You know, look at riders like Phalanges or Raymond Angelo or F-Roby. You know, they have awesome ways of filming and, you know, documenting what they do. So, you know, look at what they do. See if you can draw influence from them as well. That'll help you a lot. I don't want this video to get too long. I'm pretty sure I covered everything. If I didn't, leave all your tips in the comments. I'm sure other people will appreciate that. Don't forget too, I got plenty of concrete for sale on anxietyoffline.com. Free bushings come with every single order. I can ship out customs within 2 to 3 days. Hit up the website, support your boy. And that's really about it. That's all I got for today. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Yo, what's up fingerboarding fam? So today we're going to learn how to do an impossible. Now this is going to be my first tutorial. I don't usually do tutorials on this channel because there's not a lot of tricks I'm like super comfortable with. But this is a trick that even when I wasn't fingerboarding regularly, I could always pick up a fingerboard and usually do this trick first or second try. So I think it's pretty easy to do. You don't really even have to pop the board. Literally the motion you do kind of picks the board up for you. And personally I think this trick is easier than an ollie. just because there's really no technique. I mean, once you learn the scoop and the scoop, really, you got it. So there's kind of 2 steps, I think. I broke the trick down into like the 2 parts. We're gonna go over each of those parts, and then you'll learn how to do an impossible. They're really easy, so let's get into it. Real quick announcement before we begin the tutorial. I wanna let you know, on my website, anxiettyoffline.com, this weekend only, purchase anything and get a free pocket curb. Buy one of these, you get one for free. If you buy one of these, you get one for free. If you buy the bundle, which is one of these and one of these, you also get one of these for free. Or if you get the baller bundle, which is the curb, the half barrier, and the barrier, you also get this thrown in for free $99. So if you want to test out my products, if you want to try anything out, it's probably a good time to do it because you can get it for, you can get a piece for free. And yeah, support your boy. Head out to my website, anxiettyoffline.com, after the tutorial, of course, or now if you want. I don't really care either way. Just go buy something. That'd be dope. And yeah, each order ships with some stickers and some extra random stuff. Each of them comes glossed and clear coated. You can kind of see how shiny that one is in the light there. And people say they're really fun. I have a lot of fun on these objects. They all come with some sticky tack on the bottom, which none of these have yet, besides this one. This one's cool because you can take it pretty much anywhere. It fits right in your pocket or in your bag. I went on a 16-mile bike ride yesterday with one of these in my bag, and we were able to pull it out halfway through, have a quick sesh, keep riding, and I got home and it was still all in one piece. So it's a pretty cool little piece, very portable, very compact, very fun, and you can get one for free this weekend by buying anything off my site, anxiettyoffline.com. Let's get into the tutorial. Thanks for watching. And one last thing, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Like I said, it's 2 very easy steps, really. And the first one is the scoop. So that's what it is right there. So basically, now when I fingerboard, I try to tuck my fingers, but they'll always end up hanging out before a trick. So 2 things to keep in mind here. You want to have your back finger back further enough from the tail where you can really scoop the board enough to it will go around your finger. The other thing you want to keep in mind is you want to get this finger out of the way. So it's kind of a game of lifting this finger up and scooping this finger down. So like I said, back finger down, front finger up. So what you want to do is ride into the trick, and then you'll land it. Now, practice the scooping first. So practice doing this, because this is really all it is. Just try to get the board around your finger. Just try to get that scoop down. And this is an easy trick because you're not even really popping the board. The motion you're putting the board in kind of brings it up into the air for you. Looking at my finger placement, I kind of have my back finger kind of like dominantly on the tail, almost hanging off the other side. And I have my front finger like just on the, like it's on the board, but it's definitely closer to the edge, like closer to being off the board than it is to on. So that's because I want it to be easily get it out of the way. So just practice that scooping motion. That's the most important part. So at this point in the video, I recommend you to pause the video and then come back to it, and we'll go over part 2. So you probably already started to get this when you were doing the first part, like the scooping, because once you got the scooping down, I imagine your fingers kind of naturally did this step. So the next part is kind of the catch or the landing. It's not really even a catch, you're just kind of finding the board again. So when you do flick it, it's gonna you want to take it around your finger and probably already did this naturally after you kind of mastered the scoop. Basically, the board, once you get the scoop down, the board's gonna go pretty much all the way around your finger, and as it gets around, you kind of just want to rotate your hand a little bit, find the grip tape, and bring it back down. As you see there, I kind of flicked my back finger out too soon, and that kind of kicked the board out. So you want to make sure you time it just right, and don't land primo. That was a sketchy one, but you get the point. There we go. So that one I actually kind of caught it and slammed it down before the wheels hit the ground. That's kind of what you kind of want to do, is try to see if you can, as soon as it gets around, put your fingers on it right there and bring it down. One thing you might want to practice too is doing them fakie. They kind of come a little bit easier to you fakie because you're rolling into it. You know, you can almost just kind of flip the board over your finger. You can just pretty much flip the board over your finger and put your fingers back on it. And you know, so fakie might be a good way to practice. But definitely this tutorial is more for the regular impossible, which is like that. And this is just for my particular style. So I mean, you know, this might not apply for everybody. You know, some people fingerboard with their fingers straight down. It's definitely more realistic. You know, and in that way, I think your impossible would kind of be more, a little more of an angle. You know, but I tried to make mine go like almost like 90 degrees all the way around. I don't know, it's just kind of what I'm used to or what I've always done. So yeah, basically what you want to do is scoop and then bring it back down. And when you scoop, like I said, they're not even really popping the board, because when you scoop, naturally your hand's going to rise, and that's just going to bring the board up. And as it gets around the perfect point, you know, as soon as it gets the rotation to where your finger moving won't affect the rotation anymore, that's the sweet spot for when you want to find the grip tape again and bring the board down. It's super simple. But yeah, that's the impossible, the scoop, and the catch. That's really all it is. Hope this video helped you learn something today. If you have any suggestions, comments, questions, drop them below. If you have any video ideas, drop those below too. I'm always open to suggestions. I want to bring you guys the content you want to see. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace. I really hope you hit that subscribe button. If you're watching, if you're all the way at this point and you hit that button, I'm going to be mad at you. You have to click it now. You have to. All right, see you next video. Bye. What is up, y'all? So yesterday, I took this fingerboard outside, and it's pretty dirty, so we're going to go ahead and clean it up. So we're going to focus on two things, the grip tape and the wheels. Let's start with the grip tape. So to clean the grip tape, we're going to use tape. First, let's talk about what's the best kind to use. So when it comes to tape, you got Scotch tape, you got painter's tape, you got electrical tape, and you got packing tape. When it comes to all of these, I'm gonna say electrical tape is probably the worst to use. It's just too strong. Whenever I use it, it tends to like rip up a whole layer of grip tape with it. So I would say to not use this unless it's like all you have in your house. Next one is packing tape. Packing tape works really good. The only thing is it loses the adhesive really, really fast. So if you stick it to your grip tape, after like one pull, it's pretty much done. It cleans your wheels pretty well though, so I will say that. Packing tape's also kind of expensive compared to other tapes. That's why I don't really like to use it. Scotch tape works pretty good, especially for grip tape. It definitely gets the grip tape very clean, and you can do 2 or 3 passes without losing your adhesive. So Scotch tape's definitely pretty good. My favorite though is painter's tape. Painter's tape cleans grip tape so good, and you can go like for like 4 or 5 passes too. And it's nice and wide, so you can cover the whole board with one piece, and it's pretty cheap, and you can get a lot of it. So I like painter's tape the best for cleaning grip tape, and it works well for cleaning wheels too. It's super simple. All you do is take a nice piece, you know, as long as your fingerboard is, and you stick it. And I like to really get mine stuck on there really good, kind of press it in to the concave and the dips and all that good stuff, into the nose and the tail. Just press it in really good. And painter's tape is cool because if it does stick to your graphic, it's no big deal. It just comes right off. And then boom. I should have did half and half so you guys could see the before and after. We'll try that with this one right here. So I already did a 1 pass on this one, but it's still sticky enough to do another one. I'll usually clean like 2 or 3 boards or 4 boards with like 1 piece. So let's see if you can tell the difference. Oh yeah, you can clearly see. It's more noticeable in person, but you can even see on camera the dusty side and the non-dusty side. So this is my favorite for cleaning grip tape. This works really well. It's nice and clean now. So now let's do the wheels. So to clean the wheels, get another piece of tape and put it down flat on the table. If you want, you can like tape your tape down, but I usually just go like this. There you go. Now the wheels are nice and clean. And you probably can't tell because they're already pretty white. All right, let's clean this one too so you can actually see the difference it makes. These ones aren't terribly dirty, but you can kind of see the dirt on there. So after a couple passes on here, you can see that some of the dirt actually coming off on the tape. And after a couple passes, now there's no more dirt lines. They look brand new again, pretty much. So that is pretty much how you clean a fingerboard, at least the grip tape and the wheels. But since I took this thing outside yesterday and I dropped it a couple times on the ground, I'm gonna do one more thing just to get it a little bit cleaner. So I saw FP Christopher do this. He uses some alcohol wipes to wipe down the grip tape. Now, I don't like getting my fingerboards wet, so this is not something I'll do regularly, probably only just this one time because I took it outside. Yeah, you can see some dirt coming off there. I don't like getting them wet, so I'm not gonna saturate it really, just quick pass and get some of that extra dirt off. Okay, so that neoprene holds a little bit more liquid than I thought, so maybe don't like rub as heavy as I did if you use the alcohol wipe. That did work pretty good though. The grip tape looks absolutely brand new now. The wheels look great. If only I could restore the graphic. So the reason I did that is because a clean fingerboard will just function way better. The grip tape is just much easier to work with, and the wheels roll better, and that's the big thing for me, honestly. The wheels I could go without cleaning, but the grip tape makes the biggest difference. So if you've never cleaned your grip tape, you should, because it will make your fingerboard feel completely different and probably brand new. So give it a shot. A clean fingerboard is a happy fingerboard. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video. Peace. Yo, what's up, fingerboarding fam? Today we're going to be talking about 4 essential accessories every fingerboarder needs that isn't a fingerboard or an obstacle. So let's get into it. So here I have this really cool plastic fingerboarding display. If you just Google like fingerboarding display, you'll be able to find a bunch of different ones. I think Black River makes one. This one's by a brand from Etsy called GGC. There's a bunch of them out there. I like this one specifically just because it's clear. I think it just looks cool. But everyone needs a nice fingerboarding display. So definitely pick one of these up or something like it, you know, to display your stuff. The next thing's pretty cool. This is the Launch Labs fingerboarding case. It's about the size of a cell phone. It's really cool because you can fit your fingerboard in here, plus like a tool and some trucks or wheels or whatever. You put it in here and it seals up and it keeps everything dust free and nice and safe. And I'm always worried about dust getting in my bearings and things like that, or you know, your fingerboard getting banged up. But when it's in here, nice and secure, it's not going anywhere. I've seen too, a lot of people on Facebook and Reddit will leave fingerboards in their pockets and forget about them and like throw them in the washer or dryer or whatever. But this is kind of cool because if you have something like this in your pocket, you're definitely not going to forget about it. It's just disruptive enough. It's, like I said, it's small enough to where it's the size of a cell phone, so you don't really notice it, but it's just big enough to where you won't forget about it. So this is definitely a must-have accessory if you like taking your fingerboard out and about, in my opinion. Definitely check them out. This is Launch Labs fingerboarding pod. This next thing is something I've had forever. It's something I got way back when I was into fingerboarding back in the day. This is just a case I got from Home Depot. It's cool because these compartments are all like kind of like changeable because they have these little pieces you can, you know, take in and out, so you can change the size of stuff. So like in this big compartment here, I have like extra wheels and like an extra board. With some extra small pieces of tape. And then I have all my old setups in this bigger compartment down here. Over here I have some wax. Over here I got some tools. Over here I got a bunch of like Tech Deck trucks and cheap China trucks, things like that. Got a bunch of extra screws, nuts, bushings, bolts. And then I got an extra pair of Dynamics chilling here. Got a tool, some stickers. So yeah, it's just nice to have a nice organizational box for all your stuff, because fingerboarding stuff's tiny, you know, you don't want to lose it. So this thing's nice because it keeps everything in its own little spot, and it's not going anywhere, I'm not going to lose it, and I know where everything's at right when I need it. And you can probably get it at Home Depot or Harbor Freight or even, you know, the grocery store or a dollar store or really a lot of places, Staples, you know, Office Supply, a lot of places would have something like this. You know, it doesn't gotta be this exact one, but just get something like it with lots of compartments, you know, preferably ones big enough for boards too. You can organize all your stuff and you won't lose it. So these last ones are absolutely essential in my opinion if you're gonna be gripping your own fingerboards. These are metal files. So I got a whole set of these. It was like 20 of them from Harbor Freight. But out of that 20, I think these are the most useful ones for gripping your fingerboard. This one's just a straight rectangular one.
This one has bevels on both sides, and then this one's straight on one side, beveled on the other. So you probably see me use these in my videos before, in my setup videos. They just make a nice, quick, and easy job of doing your grip. So basically, they're just metal files. So you just go like that, and eventually, in a couple passes, and it will break through that foam tape adhesive layer, and then you'll have a nice, absolutely perfect line all the way around. I've noticed too, it'll even give you kind of a bevel because it's kind of, you're doing it at a straight line consistently. You'll have a consistent bevel going all the way around. It is pretty cool. It gives me a perfect grip job every time. I never have anxiety about doing, putting grip on one of my fingerboards, because this is honestly like having a machine to do it for you. It's literally that easy. And I've tested glass files, metal files, nail files, and these definitely work the best. And they're cheap too. I got the whole set for like $5. Pick up some metal files. You can get them anywhere. Just Google it. Just Google metal files and get some that look kind of like this, because I really don't have much to say about them. They're just extremely essential for having a nice, professional, perfect looking grip. So I almost forgot, but real quick, here are some honorable mentions. This is the milk crate from Chems FB. It has a little, display piece to make your videos look more street realistic or whatever. Another honorable mention is the Launch Labs fire hydrant, as well as you could put stuff in here too. So the last thing's a GoPro. This is a really old GoPro, but it's still pretty useful. I've been using it lately in my edits. I like the quality of it, even though it's so old. That's about it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace. Yo, what's going on? So yesterday I showed you in a short video how to grip a fingerboard with metal files, and I wanted to make one more quick video just showing you guys the process and going a little bit more in depth into it. So let's get started. So these metal files come in a wide variety of shapes and sizes. You can get them from Harbor Freight or Amazon, or really any hardware or hobby store probably. I got mine specifically from Harbor Freight. I got a whole set of them. There was like 20 different ones in there. And it was super cheap. It was like $7, $8, or $9 or $10 or something like that. But here's a couple of my favorite ones that I think are the best for gripping fingerboards. So real quick, someone asked me if this process will scratch the board. And I've been using this on all my fingerboards since I first started fingerboarding back in October. And it hasn't scratched any of my boards. I don't really know how it works, but I guess they just aren't strong enough really to make any dents or like scratches in it. All mine are perfect around the sides, and there's like no scratches or dents or dings or anything like from that process. Here's a board that used to have tape on there that I used that process on, and as you can see, it's totally, smooth. There's no irregularities or unevenness, so it does not scratch your board. Okay, so for demonstration's sake, we're going to go ahead and grip this board right here. First thing I do is I put my tape upside down, and then I lay my deck on top of it. That way I can ensure that it's kind of set like right in the middle of the tape. So there you go, and then just take it and press it down. Make sure it's in there in the concave. And you can really use any of these files. So if you only have the flat one, it's totally usable, doable. You can. This is the one I used yesterday in my video. You can get into the concaves, no problem, and then and the sides. If you only got this one's my favorite one. Like I said, it's great for the concaves. It just seems to cut through there a little bit easier, and it's also great for the rounded pieces, this beveled edge, because it seems to just hug the tape and just cut right through there. And then this is the rounded one. It's great for cleaning things up, and if you only got this one, you can also just rock this one too. And as you can see, it gets a nice clean cut through there. Now, one thing I want to point out is you probably noticed that I'm only sanding one way. So I'm only sanding down. I don't sand down and then back up again. Like, I'm not going back and forth. I'm only sanding down. and that's ensuring that I'm not sanding into the board. So if you want me to go a little bit slower just for demonstration's sake, that's all I'm doing. And you're not being rough on the deck, you're not being aggressive with it, you're just going back and forth. And you know you're done when you can start to see the wood line. When the board starts to poke through, then you're all good and you can start moving on to the next segment. And usually I'll kind of just get a rough cut through the whole thing and then go back through and just kind of, you know, build up my layers until the tape wants to fall off. So don't sand both ways, just back and forth. You really can't sand both ways because if you try to, like the paper's gonna start, or the tape's gonna start like messing with your sanding job. So you'll see, it'll just feel more natural. Just go like that. And hopefully that's coming through on camera, the action that I'm doing. For some reason, last time I posted this video, like people got all confused. Like, well, what if I don't sand only down? But you'll see once you start doing it, like you can really only sand down. As you can see, you can flip it there, and that really helps get those rounded pieces. There you go. So this tape's actually pretty tough on the adhesive side, so I gotta sand this thing pretty good. And yeah, it's not making any scratches, dents, or dings. And you might need to do this too. If your tape will just not come off, then you really just kind of gotta go at it until it totally breaks. Not breaks, but you know, the tape adhesive splits. I like rib tape, that's my favorite tape, or FBS tape. Super easy to get on, super easy to get off. No problem with the file though. The file makes quick, even work of everything. Okay, so we're pretty much done. You just kind of got to go through with your fingers and clean it up. Now one thing I'll do in this stage too is I'll rub my finger along the side. That'll help take off the adhesive. And then one thing I'll do is when my finger starts to get sore is I'll take my t-shirt and just use my t-shirt to like rub along the sides of the deck, and that takes all the extra adhesive away. Maybe use a black shirt, don't use a white shirt for that. And as you can see now, we have a totally perfect grip job. There's no unevenness, there's no stragglers, a little bit of adhesive hanging off there, but that's no problem. At least the grip is uniform around the deck. And it's nice using the metal files because then you'll even have like a beveled line all the way around. So it kind of gives it like a super neat and clean look. So now it's ready to skate. Usually I put my trucks on first and then grip over the top so I have a full grip like that. And this is some rip tape here. This is months old, and as you can see it still looks totally good. This is some Black River FBS tape or rip tape, I forget which one. Boy, this one's wearing in nicely. It's getting very soft. And here's the one from the video last night. This one came out beautiful. I rushed it a little bit so some parts aren't totally clean, but over time it wears down and it'll look good. And you can always re-grip it if you hate it. But yeah, so there's today's grip. Looks pretty good. I definitely recommend metal files. They are the way to go. They just work better than a nail file. They're stronger and heftier, and yeah, so they're perfect. So hopefully that explains a little bit more. If you got any other questions, drop them in the comments. And thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video. Peace.
We have a great product in the shop that we're excited to share with you. Check it out on our site.
Yo, what's up everybody? I've been wanting to make this video for a long time and we're just going to finally just sit down and do it. So this is going to be how to draw graffiti letters. Let's get into it. Couple quick background things. If you want to get good at drawing letters, focus on drawing letters first. All that style bullshit will come later, like way, way, way later. Just focus first on just literally drawing letters and getting the letter forms down. Started messing around drawing letters when I was in like 6th, 7th grade, and now I'm 30. So it's just been like a lot of like repetition and doing things like over and over and over again. And that's really all it is. That's really the real secret, the real key. You can kind of turn off the video now if you want. It's just repetition, just doing it over and over and over and over and over again. And then when you finish, do it more and do that over and over again. Cap, the famous graffiti artist, once said, more, the object is always more. So without further ado, let's get started.
Especially with me, the object is more. Not the biggest and the beautifulest, but more.
So this mainly took so long because I just could not figure out a good way to film it. I actually filmed this previously using my iPad, but I went to go slow down the footage and it was just way too choppy. So it didn't work. Had to ditch the voiceover and the footage, and we're gonna restart and do it over again. So a couple quick things to begin. Tools. If you want to do this like just the quick and easy, cheap way, go to the dollar store and get yourself a notebook like this with lines. The lines will come in handy. You'll see why later. And then get a ballpoint pen. That's really all you need. That's really all you need. If you want to be a little bit extra, get a highlighter. I don't have one handy. This is yellow marker. But you can get a highlighter. That also comes in handy. And then a thin black marker. That can also come in handy. But really all you need is a ballpoint pen. That's really that's the best tool for practicing drawing letters, is the ballpoint pen, in my opinion. And if you Google ballpoint pen sketches or ballpoint pen graffiti sketches, you'll see why. So I broke this down into like 3 basic categories. So blocks and bubbles are actually super, super similar. And we're gonna kind of start off with blocks, because I feel like blocks really are kind of the simplest way to explain how to draw letters. So we're going to use the word shape as our test word or whatever. So when you do bubble letters, it's literally just drawing boxes, and you probably want to make sure they're all kind of the same size. Or if it's your style to make them different sizes, you can do it that way. But focus on style way later. Just for now, focus on the basics, just drawing letters. So this is, really the most simplest form of drawing letters. So there you go. There's literally the word shape, and you can add a shadow here. Block letters at their simplest form are pretty much just like that. You can just practice literally drawing squares and then figuring out what your letter would look like. For instance, we did an uppercase E here, which, if we wanted to, we could add another line here. But maybe a lowercase e, would look like that. So once you kind of master that, you can kind of branch out and start using these blocks in different ways. So maybe your H, instead of being just a square with the line, is something like this, where you're using your blocks to, this essentially could be a big square with this stuff punched out. So let's do an S, for instance. So there's our S right here in kind of its most simplest form, right? But you could also do an S. So that's why you kind of want to get the lined paper, especially for when you're doing block letters. It can really, really come in handy for kind of practicing getting all your blocks the same size. And you're going to want to put it this way because you'll see, makes more sense. So for the letter S, obviously, you can go like this. That's definitely an S. But you can also go like this. So that could also be an S. You can also add another block there and another block there. So, essentially, this is just our big square, but instead of just punching out these lines here, you're punching out this piece, and this piece, and this piece, and this piece. You know, so it gets a little bit more detailed, it's a little bit more complicated. And for sake of demonstration, I'm using the black marker, but you might want to practice doing this just with light pen. You know, with a light touch on the pen, because then you can come back and block it in and it will actually look pretty neat. So your S can be like that, you know, and then once you kind of get a little more in depth with it, you know, you can kind of be more free, I don't know. And maybe instead of, maybe you're working your blocks across the lines like this. Something like that. I don't know. But really, what you want to do is just practice doing it simple. The simpler, the better. You'll find that there's like just certain letters you seem to like, or certain cases you seem to like more. I always kind of will stick with the same case as far as like, I won't mix uppercase and lowercase, as you know, as far as here I did all uppercase. I don't like lowercase letters so much unless I'm doing like bubble letters. But practice doing the simple, like super simple stuff. The simpler, the better. That'll help you in the long run. So practice doing stuff like this really for the longest time. Next on my list, we kind of worked through this S up here, right? So next, let's kind of do bubble letters, because I feel like bubble letters are probably the next logical step, even though shapes might seem like they are. Bubble letters are a lot like block letters, but instead of doing these like super squared out shapes, you're just rounding them off. And you can be pretty loose with it. It's just kind of doing the same thing, but just with like looser, with more rounded, looser shapes. You know, this in the same way, you can get more detailed with it. You know, our S might, in its simplest form, be like this, but maybe you kind of mess with the top part, you know, or instead of doing one line all the way through, you do something like that, or you can make the top part even squared and make the bottom part round. You know, all kinds of different stuff. And then you can even start working with the bottom part. So I mean, it doesn't always have to be just a curve. You know, it can be, you know, something like this. You can have the, you know, little gap in both sides. And then once you kind of get more comfortable, you can kind of start doing them in different ways. And then remember too, like, you know, it doesn't always have to be just like that. I mean, it can be, you know, like the letter 5 is also, I mean, technically an S. So, I mean, you can like trace that with your bubbles. And I mean, you pretty much have one. But I'm sorry, I'm focusing too much on one letter. But that's pretty much the idea. Very rounded bubble letters. I don't know, there's the word episode. That's, you know, here would be a block letter, you know, F, B, you know, but, you know, very quickly. I mean, that's just kind of, you know, what it would be in bubble letters. So it's just the same thing. You're just doing them very loose. And another thing that's cool with the lined paper is you can do like super basic stuff too. And this, you know, this is like super fun, I think. And it kind of goes back to the block letter technique a little bit, but like, let's say you want each letter to be the same size, you know? So I mean, you want each letter to take up 3 lines. So the other day I was sketching the word Hertz, and I don't know, it just looks cool. So let's do that one again. So our H is gonna be here. As you can see, it neatly takes up 3 spaces. And we'll do our U the same height. And then we'll make it curve right there. Round it off a little bit, and there you go, 3 lines. The R is a little bit tricky, right? So we'll draw our shapes in there. So we got our rectangle here, and then we need to have a U-C shaped thing right there. And it's going to go over 3 spaces, and you want to make sure it's uniform in the way it rounds out, you know, the way it rounds off. So it's only going to go to the second line here, and then, you know, you want to make sure it's the same size. It's going to be something like that. And then our other line is going to come, that was probably the wrong angle actually, something like this. I don't know, it's not perfect. we'll figure that out when we do the final outline. It's not too far off. Our T is easy, just takes up 3 and then goes down. Our S is a little bit tricky, right? So I'm gonna do one line here and then one line there. And I don't know, it's gonna be something like that pretty much. So let's come through with our black marker. So this is like a really basic way to do it. But I mean, if you really want to get good at drawing letters, draw them in their very simplest forms and you'll get good at it really quick. Do something like, I should have went all the way with it. There was no point to cut it off because there's nothing in the way. So again, you have to think about the relationship between the letters, and the relationship here probably really isn't perfect between all these because you could throw this T a little bit over and tuck this S in a little bit farther as well. But then again, it just kind of depends what you're going for. So yeah, I don't know. That's letters in their simplest form. And it's just, that's probably one of my most favorite techniques to do, is just this, you know, knowing, like almost like drawing a font pretty much. That's actually pretty much what this is. Because you're trying to make everything as neat and as uniform as possible. I don't know. That B isn't perfect, but you kind of get the idea. It's almost kind of like the idea of like sign painting, which is like a really old technique when they used to literally just paint signs. You know, and you want to do your letters as perfect as they can possibly be. All right, let's talk about drawing shapes. I think this is going to be kind of the main part of the video, because I feel like this is drawing letters at its core. But when it comes down to it, you know, just focus on drawing shapes. You know, they don't always have to be perfect. You know, you can kind of be abstract with it. You just kind of want to let the letter kind of flow out onto the page. If it helps, you can kind of do a hand style first, or kind of do something like, you know, drawn out first, and then kind of do your letters based on that. Or you can kind of just start sketching and just kind of see what happens. I was never really good at drawing like people or like anything like realistic, but when it came to like doing like letter forms and things, or doing like calligraphy, I seemed to be decent at that. And it's just about, you know, symmetry and what looks, you know, aesthetic, for lack of a better word. And just using different shapes and letting the letter flow, you know, kind of flow out. So you kind of saw me build that S there, you know, using those different shapes. And I don't know, when you're doing it this way, it almost kind of feels like you're like, you know, adding armor or something onto like a tank. You know, you want to make sure you do it in like a very like tasteful but strategic, in a way that like kind of makes sense, you know. So shape is kind of a cool word actually, because this A makes everything very symmetrical in the middle, you know. So I'm gonna make this A like way bigger. So as you can see, like this A is really, I mean, it's gonna look pretty cool, at least I think it will. But really all it is these two shapes, you know, this other shape through it. And then you can even add like a serif up top, you know. Let's see how that would look. Not really sure. I think I kind of like the more symmetrical one, but play it by ear. And then our P is again just going to be, let's see, let's make sure our A is nicely defined here. Another part of it, along with the drawing shapes and, you know, making the letters look cool or look, you know, look nice, look readable, the big thing to keep in mind is you want to practice letters on their own, obviously. You know, practice letters, get good at those. But one thing to keep in mind when you're drawing words and putting letters down on a page is you want to make sure you keep in mind the relationship between each of the letters. Because if you have like, you know, one that's super big and then one that's small and then another one that's small and like one that's super big and then like, I don't know if it's just there's no rhyme or reason to it. It won't really look. It won't look cool. You know, I mean, it won't look. If there's no rhyme or reason to it, then it won't read nicely. And I don't know. You'll notice when they have like kind of beauty to them, they kind of just look better and read better when just there's like some rhyme or reason to why the letters are laid out the way they are. And you'll find out too. I mean, like kind of like I was saying before, you'll like certain letters better, and you might even find the letters you like look good in a certain order. So you know, even if they don't make sense, just run with it and let that be, you know, your word. You know, it's good too to focus on, you know, maybe one word at first and just try to make that, you know, get good at that one word. Or you can focus on a bunch of different ones, whatever, you know, you think would work better for you. Because you could even make this into a hustle, you know, I mean, you can like do your friends' names and things. You know, you can get an airbrush, do your friends' names, and like, you know, I don't know, you can totally make this into like a hustle and, you know, kind of get paid for, you know, doing letters. And, you know, if you do them long enough and you get really good, I mean, you can do murals and all kinds of like really, really cool stuff. So, it's not just something you have to use for like, you know, illicit activities or whatever. It's definitely like a useful skill to have, you know, knowing how to do this kind of stuff or draw letters. I mean, if you consider this good, I don't know. I think it looks cool, but, so I mean, from there, I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff, and you can just, you know, highlight it with the yellow. We hit it with like a black outline and a black shadow. I kind of like them when they just kind of like take them from here and then shadow them. I think they look really cool. So maybe we'll try something like that. We'll just kind of keep talking for a minute. But yeah, so I've been drawing letters for a long time, and I mean, I never really did anything crazy with it, but it's definitely kept my hands busy in a lot of stupid work meetings and boring days at school, that's for sure. Just sketching in my notebooks and all that stuff. And I've been trying to decide if I want to show some of them. Maybe I will. If I choose to do so, I'll probably do that in this section here. But I like the ballpoint pen sketches a lot because you can see every single pen stroke, and it kind of gives it a real like human element to it. And as you can see, I'm kind of like doing the shadow in like the fill first, then coming back with the outline. I don't know, I feel it kind of looks nice that way. And we are going to just get rid of this serif here and go straight down. That looks much better. And some people have called out my shadows. I don't know why. They said they don't look right. I mean, I don't know. They all face the right way and everything. So, I mean, the perspective's right. I don't know what could really be wrong. But anyway. So, yeah, I just put everything kind of running the same way and then outline it. And there you go. You got the 3D complete. So, I don't know. I like a basic Bic pen sketch. I think these look the coolest. In all my school notebooks, there was millions of these, all kinds of different words and all kinds of just different techniques that I would try just to make them look cool, like the things that I would see on the different graffiti websites and things. But this has always kind of been my favorite type of like way to draw words is doing these like shapes. So on this one, the M threw me off a little bit. I hadn't really planned for that. But I was thinking like to make it 3, I don't know, I couldn't really figure that out on the fly, so that's kind of what came out. But I kept it in just because like it doesn't always have to be perfect. As long as everything is the same weight, just meaning like, or consistent weight rather. Especially in this type of style, if you even really want to call it that. But as far as just like making sure each of the letter, every piece, you know, is kind of roughly the same size, that'll really help it just feel consistent. So if you can just like do that, then, you know, you don't have to really all stay in the lines all the time. It's really not always going to have lines, but just as long as like consistency really is the biggest thing. And I mean, that goes for all of this stuff, you know, because there's consistency here You know, and the fact that, you know, this letter is large, this one gets smaller, this one gets large again, this one's smaller, kind of tucks in, and this one's also large, you know, just kind of, and then the fact that it's symmetrical, you know, it kind of goes in like this like diamond-y shape, you know, so consistency really is the key. And then again here, all these letters, you know, the size of the letters is pretty much same size all the way through. So there's consistency in the font, or consistency in the letters. You know, and again with the consistency, you know, it's same size, you know, same line shape. You know, you don't want to have like, you know, a big one there, like a big like gap there, like for like no reason. I mean, I guess you could because it's kind of symmetrical. But I guess a better example would be like, you don't want to have like just one random like large gap there and the rest of these be just little lines. Because that would just make no sense. So yeah, that's really what it is. Consistency and just making sure everything kind of looks uniform and is still readable. And then focus on your letters and your letter forms and all that stuff before you do style. Style can come later, way later. And then as far as tools go, really all you need is lined paper and a ballpoint pen. Hope that helps. If you got any questions, drop them down below. I'll make another video like this in the future if I think of like more tips and things like that, or other easier ways to explain this. And yeah, that's it for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. Peace. What's going on, everybody? Join me today as we upgrade this tech deck. And we've got to try it out first, see how it functions. First thing I'm going to do is change up the grip tape. So I want to throw some foam tape on here, add some new trucks, and lightwork bushings. So that all went to plan besides the trucks. I ended up using the China base plates with the tech deck hangers, and the reason being, I should have got it on video, but I forgot. The China base plates have a lot more threading than the tech deck ones. So you're able to get the nut down a little bit further, and then that results in like less kingpin scratch. You're able to get the kingpin almost all the way down, as you can see in this clip here. You can barely see it peeking over. So that worked out pretty well. So I threw on the foam tape, and the rest is history. And this thing really, really, really changed my idea of what a tech deck can be. I gotta say, this thing absolutely shreds my favorite setups, and I can't believe how cheap it was. The only thing that sucks is the more I use the back trucks, the wheels are kind of starting to, the axles actually are kind of starting to lose their shape, and the wheels are kind of getting crooked. But I did end up actually taking the bearing wheels off and putting the stock tech deck wheels back on. I think it actually kind of feels better that way, almost kind of vaguely like urethane in a weird sense. I don't know, I like it. So anyway, I ended up ordering a graphic that I really, really liked, which was this one. Note though, I went to Target and tried to find one there. Unfortunately, they didn't really have any cool graphics. So I went on eBay and ordered the blind one, but here's a little look at what they had at my local Target at the time. As you can see, it's not very much. My local Target actually has a really crappy tech deck section, and I hope they get more soon. So I ordered some trucks, and I have some wheels here, and I'll update you in a couple days. Yo, so this was supposed to come tomorrow. It ended up coming today, which is super cool. This is the rest of the pieces I need to complete this setup. So let's do a quick unboxing video. This wax smells really good. So I got some Curb Candy wax. Really want to try this stuff. I got it in pink. I think it looks really cool. And then I got 2 sets of China trucks. Even though you guys know I hate China trucks, but they seem to be a good option for upgrading these things, at least until I figure out which one I want to put Dynamics on, or Black River trucks, I don't know. Stickers too. Thank you, Mr. Chems, I appreciate you. Thank you for the fast shipping. You the man. All right, let's go build this fingerboard. So these were originally gonna be for this setup right here, but this one actually feels pretty good, so I think I'm gonna leave it. And we're gonna put the first set on these ones, and then the second set on this deck right here, which I've been wanting to upgrade for a while, but I haven't. We'll see how that goes. I'm debating if I want to put bearing wheels on here. Fifi, 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 stop that. One thing though, I'm really excited to open this deck. I don't know why, it's just a tech deck, and I've already seen the graphic, I know what's on it, but I'm excited to open it. So let's finally do that. I love this graphic, super nostalgic.
and it's going to look awesome with some lightwork bushings, foam tape, bearing wheels, and China trucks. Let's turn this thing into the ultimate Tech Deck. I gotta say, Tech Deck grip tape actually feels pretty good, like out of the package. I don't know why though, as it wears in, like I don't know, I can't fuck with it. I don't like it that much, but out of the package though, it actually doesn't feel too bad, so it's interesting. One thing I kind of don't like about Tech Decks is this weird concave shape, which you can kind of see in the light there. Back in the day, they totally didn't have that. They were just like flat or, you know, rounded. There was like no visible concave in here. So it would be cool. I wish they did more mellow decks. So it's pretty much done, and I gotta say, it feels really good. It felt a little bit better with the Black River Street Dogs on there, like a little more smoother. I ended up putting the China wheels back on here. So the wheels cost about $6, the trucks were $8, the deck was $3, and the grip tape is about $3. I'm not sure how long the trucks will last. The axles do stick out quite a bit, so if they get hit enough, then they're gonna end up getting, you know, coming loose. So we'll see how that goes. I'm thinking about taking my Dremel to them and like sanding them down a little bit, at least on that side. This is gonna be my new, like, you know, pocket setup, the take to the bar or whatever. So definitely stoked on it. So I got my favorite Tech Deck Performance Series deck all stripped down. No trucks, no wheels, no tape, no nothing. And now I'm going to attempt to reshape this deck. So we shall see how it goes. I hope I really hope I don't ruin it. But it shouldn't be that hard. We're just basically going to like take these like super squared edges, sand them down a little bit so it looks more like a professionally made fingerboard. And I'll show some close-ups here so you know what I'm talking about. And wish me luck. Hope it goes well. Let's go upstairs to the workshop and try and reshape this deck and see if we can make it feel any better. And then after I reshape it, I'm gonna go ahead and put a fresh coat of clear coat on it and around it because I went ahead and sanded off the stupid numbers they have on here. So in theory, we should have a nice, brand new, good feeling fingerboard. So let's try this out. Let's see how it goes. Wish me luck. So I'll do a better before and after comparison, but just check out the initial difference. This is the side I've been working on right here. Check that out. This is the stock side. You can see how thick and chunky and squared off it is. And then, I mean, that looks like, it's not perfect, but I mean, it looks really good. I think it's gonna look awesome after I clear coat it. I wish the quality of the wood was nicer. I'm surprised. This is actually a little bit easier than I thought, and I think it's going to improve the performance a lot. So let's do the other side, and I'll be right back. I kind of can't believe how good this thing looks. If I didn't know any better, you would honestly think the top deck is some type of mellow pro deck, and then the bottom is the Tech Deck Pro. But they're both Tech Deck Pros. It's so crazy. So this is the before and after, and I'm about to go outside and do the final lacquer coat on here so the whole thing's shiny and all the wood is sealed. And just look at that difference though. It's so crazy. I feel like it even has more concave now. Dude, this thing feels amazing now. I really can't believe it. I mean, it doesn't feel like amazing, but like it feels worlds better. It feels way less planky now than it used to. It used to feel so much like a popsicle stick. Now it's like a little bit heavier, a little bit thinner. I don't know how to explain it, but it feels really good.
So these are my final thoughts on these two upgraded tech decks here. First of all, they both rock, like in their own way. For being so cheap, this one was about 25, and then this one was about 20. So really like not bad at all. I mean, for around that price point, you know, you could get other decks and everything. These were kind of fun because I got to make them my own and modify them, and they were still super cheap. So actually I lied. This one was 20 with the China wheels. I ended up putting flat face Black River wheels on this one. These run about 30 bucks. So this is the most expensive part of the setup right here. But it functions really well with them. And I think out of the two, I do like this one a little bit better just because it's a little bit heavier. And I do like my decks a little bit heavier. So because of the weight, I do like this one a little bit more. The wheels probably have a lot to do with that too. I also learned in this experiment that wheels really do make the biggest difference. Trucks are so-so, but wheels make the biggest difference besides the deck, obviously, in like riding quality and how the fingerboard feels. So one bummer that's kind of foreseen is the axles on this one started coming loose already because I was shredding it so much. That was kind of expected. But I want to do some more work on this one. So I did make it thinner and kind of sand down, get rid of the squared shape. But now I think I actually want to reshape the nose and the tail. So I want to like shave all this down. And I'm not sure if you can see, I'll show you more in the next video, but I kind of have an idea of what I want the shape to be like. It's not really too far off. Shave off just a little bit here and then make the edges round again. And I'm gonna do the same for the tail. So I'm gonna shorten the nose and the tail up a little bit. So I'm not sure if I'm done modding this one quite yet, but the simple modification of getting rid of the square edges definitely did help a lot. It made this deck feel a lot different and kind of just a lot better in general. So I definitely recommend that. And you don't need a Dremel to do that. You can just use sandpaper. It might take a little bit longer, but you can just sit there and use sandpaper and just sand the edges down a little bit at a time and one side at a time. And eventually, you know, it'll look just like this. And that really did make a huge difference. This deck looks a lot better. It was really fun to do too. Modifying thing, I've never really done much like modifying fingerboard stuff. I've modified a lot of Hot Wheels, as you can see in the background. But I haven't done a lot of modding fingerboards, and it was really fun just for the simple fact I was like making the fingerboard my own. So now I have like more of a connection with this deck than I did before, and I'm really excited to, you know, mod it further and see how good of a fingerboard I can turn this $12 wooden tech deck into. These are both awesome decks that I just throw in my pocket and take on the go. And that was kind of the point of this whole experiment, is I wanted to find the best possible cheap deck that I could put in my pocket without needing a carrying case or anything, so I can just throw in my pocket and not worry about. And these do come pretty close. I'm not sure if I would throw this one in my pocket and just not worry about it for the simple fact that it's wood and I don't want to like snap it by accident. And then this one, of course, has nice wheels, so I don't want too much dust to get in there, but I'll still take it with me on the go and like throw it in my cup holder or, you know, something like that, and just take it with me. So I would say, like, if you want to try doing either one of these modifications, definitely go for it. Maybe start with this one just so it's cheaper and probably more accessible. All you're doing is changing the bushings, the wheels, and the tape. And that made such a huge difference. Like, this thing honestly feels like a plastic Berlin wood or a plastic Black River deck. Like, it has very similar concave. The tail and nose are a little bit steeper, but it feels like a cheaper version of that pretty much. So in that respect, I really do like it. And the wheels probably make a big difference. The China wheels, I'm not really a big fan of. They have too much of like a gritty riding quality. So I ended up putting the Tech Deck Performance Series wheels back on this one, but that's just an experiment, so we'll see how that goes. But overall, super fun, and these are going to be awesome setups to add to my collection, and I'm super glad I did it. So thanks so much for following along. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you got any questions, please drop them below, and also let me know below which one of these two is your favorite. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
We have a great product in the shop that we're excited to share with you. Check it out on our site.
Yo, what's going on, Fingerboard fam? Welcome back to the channel, Anxiety Offline FB, and in this video, we're going to be making the ultimate fingerboard barrier. So, I've had this idea in my head for a long time. I really don't know why I haven't done it yet, but I figured for this week's video, we're just going to sit down and do it. So it basically is going to consist of taking one full barrier and one half barrier, and then putting them together to create, obviously the ultimate fingerboard barrier. So in the first part of the video here, you saw me, making the actual barriers, which mainly just consists of mixing cement and pouring it into a mold and then waiting for it to dry, which takes 24 hours. So this part here is filmed the next day, and taking everything out of the mold and giving it a good sanding. And then once all the sanding's done, wash it down in some water just to get all the dust off and make sure there's no extra particles on there for when I do the surfacing. So you'll see in this part, I had some trouble with my glue. I thought I was all good to go, and I went and got ready to do this, and my glue was all dried up. I stupidly left the cap off of it. So I grabbed some super glue, and I thought I would try that because super glue usually bonds pretty much everything. So I put a hefty amount on there, and I put some extra concrete on there even, and I left it to dry. And I thought for sure this thing had to work, but unfortunately it had no hope of holding. I don't know why the concrete was too porous and the super glue just turned into a thin sheet of nothing and fell apart. So went to the store, got some more Gorilla Glue, and in this part you can see the Gorilla Glue drying. And once that was all dry, well actually hold up, rewind, stop the video. I had some problems. So the thing wasn't sitting flush. I didn't test fit it at first. I just kind of figured they would kind of meet together magically and everything would be good, but the sides weren't totally flat 90 degrees and all that, so I had some issues there. So I had to do some sanding down. I used the drill, and then left it to dry like this because I figured if I at least could get it to dry and stay solid, then I could just sand it down kind of after the fact.
I'm stoked. This thing actually is looking really good. Now it just needs some finishing. So we're gonna go outside and put a brand new surface on this, and we're gonna paint it up, and then it should be done. So let's go do it.
I sanded the heck out of the base until I got it to fit flush, and then I began painting it. So I had this orange paint pretty handy, and I knew I wanted an orange barrier. So I hit it with the orange, but this Rust-Oleum orange really didn't have the kick I wanted. It kind of was more of like a vomit orange, not a construction orange. And I happened to be at Lowe's, and I found this Krylon Fluorescent. So because I already had a nice coat of orange down that made for a nice base, and this just made everything pop really nicely. It probably would have worked a little bit better with a white base coat, but it still worked pretty well. It dried super fast, so now we are inside, and I figure in the spirit of Halloween, we might as well do this thing orange and black, right? So I'm gonna try and tape off some black stripes that go this way, and then we'll head back outside and get one more layer of paint. So let's figure that out first. All right, so I know it sounds simple, but in practice it was actually kind of hard to get this right. And you'll see at the very end, my masking wasn't totally perfect. I got some things wrong, but it worked out. I got the effect pretty much there. So I took a bunch of tape, and the hard part was really getting the angled part to match the rest of it, because the angling tape on a 3D angled piece is just difficult to do in general. But I got it. It looked like this. And I ended up tearing the piece off the very end there because it was kind of like awkward. Then in hindsight, that might have made things look awkward too, so I don't know. But here I am painting it. Took a couple layers of black to get out the fluorescent orange, but we got there.
Alright, so it's currently the next morning, and now we're going to apply some of this polyurethane.
Alright, so it's not perfect. There's some errors in my masking, but we got all the final layers applied. So now it just needs to dry, and then it should be ready to skate.
It's been a couple days, but I got this done. It's all dried, and I've been seshing it like a ton. It's been sitting on my desk here, and I've been using it pretty often. It's super fun. It's as fun as I thought it would be, if not a little bit more fun. I thought it was going to be too big, but it's actually perfect size. The paint job is not perfect, but it's got the effect I wanted it to have, so it, works out. I did a little tag on here to kind of give it some more flavor. I wanted to do this for a while. I don't know why I didn't do it sooner. I'm glad I gave it a shot, and it turned out pretty cool. It looks pretty realistic, certifiably shreds. I accidentally broke the little tip off here, but it doesn't really matter. It still rides up pretty well, so not that big of a deal. And it kind of adds to the realism of it anyway. But it looks really realistic, so I do like it. And I gotta say, I'm really impressed with the finish on here. Because even with these Tech Deck trucks, it is so buttery. Here's some BRTs. I mean, it is just insanely buttery. It's clear coated, polyurethaned, and waxed, so it's super fun to sesh on. It's super satisfying to grind on with your board, or with trucks. So it was a success, and I'm working on another one currently. I'm not going to put them on the site just because they take a lot more work than the usual stuff I do. So if you want to special order one, send me a message on Discord or Instagram, either way, and we can get you one made. But this one specifically, though, I'm going to give away. So it's going to be kind of a Halloween giveaway. So I'm going to end the giveaway on October 14th, so the winner gets this in time for Halloween. So if you want to enter the giveaway, it's super simple. You have to be subscribed to my channel and leave a comment down below saying which one of my videos is your favorite, and then you'll be entered. It's pretty much that simple. One little caveat though, you have to live in the USA. This thing's pretty large. It's going to be expensive to ship, and shipping it out of the USA would be even more crazy expensive right now. So it's going to be USA only, excluding Hawaii and Alaska, so Greater 48 only. I'm going to end the giveaway October 14th, so it'll be shipping out in the days after that. You should have it before Halloween. So on Halloween, you can sesh this very spooky, haunted construction obstacle. And yeah, so that's about it for this video. I'm glad I did this experiment. Got another one of these going, so you'll probably see more of these in my edits and things like that, because it's super fun to mess around on. So good luck to all of you who enter, and thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
We have a great product in the shop that we're excited to share with you. Check it out on our site.
Yo, so the benches are complete. I gotta say, these things came out so cool. After I glued them, I was testing them out, and they were kind of a little bit rough on the edges. So I've been going through and sanding them down and making sure everything's nice and smooth, and they're starting to feel really good. So they're pretty much almost done, and they're pretty much good to go. I went ahead and clear coated the bottom and the sides, so it's all nice and smooth and feels pretty much finished. I'm probably gonna do a little more wet sanding on the corners just to make sure they're all really good to go. and then 2 of them were kind of wobbly. So I did a whole process of applying some resin to the bottom and then sanding it back down. And now they don't wobble at all. They, sit perfectly flat and there's no wobble. So I think anyway though, I'm gonna sell these 2 as blems. So they'll be like $5 off or whatever, just so nobody's just disappointed. And then these 2 came out perfect. They sit perfect, and they're just perfect. So I mean, they're all perfect. Nothing wobbles. That's the main thing. The table's actually wobbling, not the benches, but nothing wobbles. That's the main thing. So now I'm just making sure that everything's nice and smooth, and then they'll be ready for sale. So here's a quick little edit that I made, testing them out. Hope you enjoy it, and look for them soon on the site. I'll probably make an announcement on my community page and just say, hey, they're up for sale. Here's a quick link. So stay tuned for that. And if you got any questions, drop them in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace. So basically, I got these 2 bars of skate wax here from CCS. It's just regular, CCS skate wax. And we're gonna melt it down and put it in this tray here. So let's get right into it. All right, I got my wax, my purple wax at least, broken down into these shards here. And then I think to make it easier to handle, I'm gonna cut this in half here. All right, I got a bunch of wax here broken down. So now I'm gonna put it on a cookie sheet and put it in the oven and get it melted. It's so weird, the glowing wax is actually glowing in the oven. It looks pretty wild. All right, it's all melted down, and now we're gonna try and transfer it over to the skulls. All right, turned out pretty good. I did some mixed, and then purple over here, glow in the dark over here, and then there's some mixed ones over here too. Now I'm just gonna wait for them to dry, and then we can test some of them out. All right, I got everything out of the freezer, and now I'm just taking it out of the molds, and I gotta say they look pretty cool. So let's take everything out and see how they all look. So this was super fun. These came out really cool. I got a bunch of purple ones and a bunch of glowy ones, and then a bunch of these really, really cool mixed ones. And the mixed ones are kind of my favorite. It's gonna be a really awesome addition to throw in packages and things over the Halloween season. And I want to do more, so I think next time I'm gonna get different color waxes and kind of mix them up and do different kind of combinations and things like that. I think it'll be pretty cool. And I like that I used actual skate wax, not like just candle wax or beeswax or paraffin. This is actual, like I showed you in the beginning of the video, it's actual CCS skate wax. So it's the same stuff you would use on the streets, on a curb or wherever, on some bricks. And it translates really well onto these obstacles here. Someone ordered a package over the weekend, so they got a couple pieces in their order. And I'm gonna throw it up on the site. You'll be able to get 4 pieces for $1. Otherwise, you'll get 1 free piece in every order. If you want to try this out, you definitely should. You can get a mold off Amazon for like $5. You can get wax off Amazon for like $3 or $4. You should probably get a tray to melt your wax in, or you can use, like, if your parents have like a wax melter, like for incense or whatever, you can probably just use that. And make sure you take the heating source out before you go to pour it. If you got any questions, drop them in the comments box below. Don't forget, I got Hanna decks for sale on my website right now. $30 per deck. They're really awesome real wear decks. I have 2 different mold shapes. The mid is my favorite, but the below is really awesome too. Don't miss out on these. The graphics really are, like, they're really cool. They're my favorite, and they wear super nicely. And then I got plenty of concrete for sale as well.
So if you buy some wax and you need an obstacle to wax, you should definitely get some concrete to go with it, because I think they're pretty fun. This is one of my favorite ones that I sell right here, and it comes with 2 pallets to go below it, so you can, lift it up or lower it down, whatever you want to do. This one's super fun, super dynamic. And then dropping very, very shortly here, we have the marble benches. I just need to do one last little wet sanding on all 4 of them, and they'll be good for sale. So I won't make this one too long, but that's about it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace. As you progress through your fingerboarding journey, you may find yourself wanting to upgrade. When I first got back into fingerboarding a year ago, this was my setup. My old one from 2008-2009. Now it's more of a relic than a functional fingerboard. My first upgrade from this was to the G15 Complete. Even with the China trucks and flat-face Black River wheels that came with stock, it was worlds smoother than anything I had tried at the time. But I wanted a different feeling, and it led me to a dilemma. What do I upgrade first, the wheels or the trucks? Good fingerboard bearing wheels aren't too expensive. Most high-end wheels go for anywhere between $35 and $65. Lower-end plastic bearing wheels can be had for as low as $6, or there's nicer other plastic options out there for every price range in between $6 and $35. Hopefully that's not too confusing. Now, good trucks, on the other hand, start at around $40 for Dynamics, or as high as $65 for Black River trucks. You can look into other budget truck options, but today we're just going to be talking about BRTs and Dynamics, because they're what I have the most experience with. So with all that, one would naturally think, wheels are cheaper. Let me get those first, and I'll get the more expensive trucks later. But consider one thing. Putting nice wheels on cheap trucks can actually be a risk. If the axles come loose, or if the truck is an odd shape to where it can't meet the wheel in the right way, if you slam hard enough, you could force the bearing right out of the wheel. And that's one reason I kind of like Black River products and using them together, is because they work well together. Black River wheels and trucks were designed together, so I feel confident using them in a rough manner. On the other hand, if you put cheap wheels on nice trucks, I don't think you're running as big of a risk. BRTs and Dynamics have fairly strong axles, so even if your wheel for some reason makes the axle or the end of the bolt poke out, I don't think you'll be able to slam it hard enough to get the axle quite loose. And even if you do, and in the case you have Dynamics, Scott will usually sell you a new hanger for a discounted price. You just gotta send him an email. All that being said, I think it's smartest to upgrade the trucks first. Sure, it's going to be more expensive, but will definitely make for a big difference in riding and grinding quality. Along with the fact, you're only gonna have to buy the trucks once. If you put them on one board and don't take them off, they will last a very long time. What I don't recommend is buying a pair of nice trucks and then putting them on a bunch of different setups, like if you're trying to test things out. Because we're working at such a tiny scale, you will very quickly and easily strip those base plates. It seems that some people have better luck than others when it comes to swapping base plates, so whatever you do, just make sure you go slow, and if possible, use the same screws in the same holes, and do not use a lot of pressure. When it comes to wheels, you'll have a lot of different options, different brands, and even different materials. Here's a quick rundown of some of my favorite wheels for around $40. And I chose 40 because it seems like a lot of the higher end, nicer fingerboard wheels fall for around that price range. It used to be 35, but it seems like in the last couple of months, prices have gone up a little bit. First is Abstracts. These are very highly underrated wheels. I don't see enough people riding them. They have a wide variety of price point, shape, and color. Next up is Blistered. So I haven't used these wheels, but I've only heard very good things, and they start at the very low price point of only $25. Next is Ill Pills. So you can't go wrong with Ill Pills. The urethane is very grippy. It picks up dirt kind of easily. Some might like that, others might not. The minis are my favorite shape. The resin ones, though, are very highly underrated, and they are some of the best wheels I've found for street fingerboarding. And next up is Street Dogs. So these come in different colors, and the different colors seem to have different consistencies and feel, but the shape is one of my favorites overall. They're insanely smooth, tied with G8s for the smoothest on this list. And last up is the G8s. So flat face G8s are some of the smoothest and best wheels on the market. They have screech, even though they're kind of a harder feeling wheel, and they are insanely smooth. Literally like rolling on butter. These wheels are smooth, it's crazy.
Like a fucking lizard on ice.
Also, one last thing to keep in mind here. It is the end of, it's mid-October right now, so Black Friday is coming up in about a month and a half. If you can wait to get some of these products, definitely do so, because Dynamic is definitely having a sale around that time, and a bunch of other companies probably will too. So you can probably get the wheels and the trucks for a nicely discounted price if you just wait a month and a half from now. Of course, if you watch this video and it's not around Black Friday, and Black Friday's not coming up anytime soon, then ignore this part, but just wanted to throw that out there. So that's pretty much everything you need to know when it comes to what you should upgrade first on your fingerboard. I really hope this was helpful. If you got any comments, please drop them in the box down below. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Good idea.
What is up, fingerboarding fam? So we're back again with another video, and this time we're going to continue working on this Tech Deck Performance series. I want to try and get the perfect shape out of this board. I feel like it's super close. It just needs a little bit of modifications. So when I did this last time, I softened up the edges, and in doing that, I removed a layer of clear coat around the edge of the tail and nose of the deck. So when you put it in the light, like here, you can kind of see a very clean, tapered down edge of the nose and tail. So in this video, what I really want to do is go back and totally grind all of that off and then re-soften the edges. So we'll see if this works. So the first thing we got to do is go ahead and break down the deck. So I had a lot of fun with this deck since I reshaped it the first time, and I have very high hopes for this, so hopefully it goes well. The one thing I'm really hoping is that I don't ruin this deck. This is really one of my favorite tech decks that I own. I love the graphic, I love the way it performs, so if I ruined it, I would be really kind of heartbroken. So in this clip here, I'm using a Dremel tool with a metal bit on the end, and that really isn't the ideal tool you want to use for this. You really probably want to use a sanding wheel. I can't think of the correct name offhand, but the thing they would normally use to shape decks. That would make this process a lot easier and faster. But this is what I got at my disposal, so this is what we're going to use. And it's a pretty slow process. You want to be careful when you do it. So basically what I'm doing here is just going through the edges and trying to sand them down as much as I can by going from side to side to side and back and forth. You just kind of want to make sure that you're doing it evenly. And eventually I broke out another board to kind of start testing the shapes, or start comparing the shapes rather, and seeing if I was getting kind of close to a Berlinwood shape, because I think that's kind of my favorite shape of board right now. And if you don't have an extra board laying around, you don't really need one. I kind of just used this as kind of a rough guide. I got 99% of my guide from the original part where we, sanded it down and kind of tapered a little bit of the gloss coat off the nose and tail. That kind of gave me my actual edge I was going to cover. So from there, once it was done, it needed clear coat. So I took it downstairs, gave it a quick clear coat, and I clear coated every side of the board. So the bottom layer now has 2 layers of clear coat, which is actually probably way too much, but it looks okay, so I'm gonna roll with it anyway. But either way, I used Rust-Oleum 2X clear coat. and that seemed to seal the wood really nicely. My main concern was just sealing up the edges of the board because they took so much sanding, and I want to make sure that they were properly sealed again so that, the wood wouldn't start separating or anything like that. It's just from being exposed. So I went ahead and threw on a sheet of grip on here, the trucks and wheels. I did switch out the wheels this time. I changed the wheels out from Tech Deck Performance Series wheels to flat face BRR bearing wheels. Pretty happy with how they function. And here it is. So I think what I'm most impressed about is how these plies came out. So on the top is a Tech Deck Performance Series, in the middle is my reshaped one, and in the bottom is a Berlin wood. This made a huge difference. Now you can clearly see each individual ply, and you can tell it's a 5-ply fingerboard. So yeah, I am super stoked with how this came out. It really couldn't have went any better. I think I'm gonna reshape another one and see if I can get it feeling even better than this one. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to check out my website, anxietyoffline.com. We got tons of concrete available and some deals going on right now. I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Yo, what's up, fingerboarding fam? Really quick video today. It's going to be a talking video, and we're going to talk about this Tech Deck concrete mold that's out right now, and if it's worth to get. Obstacle molds can be hard to find sometimes, so the fact that you can get one, like from Target or your local big box store is pretty cool, but is it worth it? I found 2 major flaws with this mold that we're going to talk about. It's a bummer because this thing's super close. Like, Tech Deck could do so much better by putting in just like 5% more effort. So my 2 main issues with this thing is, the first one is the size. So compared to a regular fingerboard, where's a Tech Deck? Compared to a Tech Deck, it's only 2 Tech Decks long maybe. And it's about as tall as a Tech Deck is too. So it's really tiny. It's almost more fit for like a miniature fingerboard, one of those little tiny Tech Decks with like the single screw kingpin, whatever things. So this ledge side is cool, but this side is like really small. You can use it, but it's tiny. Like this 2-stair really isn't even a 2-stair. It's more of just like a little curb to hop off. I don't even think it's really a half-inch tall. That's my main issue with it, is the size. It's so tiny. If it was like 25% bigger, it would be perfect, but at this size, it's a little bit hard to use. Another thing is that the mold is plastic. So plastic and concrete don't go together too well. And I know that this is meant to go, this mold is meant to be used with kinetic sand, that stuff it comes with, this stuff here, but we're talking about, if the mold is good for concrete in this purpose. So plastic and concrete don't go together so well, and I should have brought the mold inside for the actual video, but it has these hinges that you open up, and then it, like, a whole side of the mold opens up, and you can take your cement piece out. So because of that, you have this big line that goes all the way, I'll do a close-up, but it goes all the way down here. And it's like this big seam line, pretty much. You can kind of see the remnants of it, and if I put it in the light the right way, right there. So to get rid of it, you got to sand it down, and when you sand it, the surface gets smooth, but not really like ideally smooth. The surfaces on this thing are very rough. For instance, like this one, if you have Tech Deck trucks, for instance, like it's hard to even really grind on. Like, you get caught on it constantly. And then this side, even if you have nice trucks, it just it tears them up. This side's super rough. So the mold really isn't, like, for concrete, it's just not ideal. The concrete was not really working well with it. And then again, it could have been my mix of concrete, of course. It could have been my mix of concrete, but I really think it was just the mold in general, itself doing its thing. And then one last thing that has this little kicker edge, up here, and I ended up putting a little metal sheet there to kind of make it transition to the ground, because this thing just had no hope of, it actually doesn't look too bad right now, but you could tell it was like ready to crack. And in my opinion, this thing is really not the greatest obstacle mold out there. You could do so much better for $15 elsewhere. So in my opinion, stay away from it. Don't get it. It's probably not worth your money or your time. But if you got $15 to burn and you want to like mess around with some concrete and get like a new obstacle in your arsenal, then hey, check it out. You might get some fun out of it, some use out of it, or whatever. So I made an edit with it. We'll go ahead and play that now. I don't want this video to get too long. But that is my 2 cents on the Tech Deck concrete mold. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Yo, what is going on, fingerboarding fam? So the other day I was at Target and I found a whole bunch of Mellow Tech Decks. If you didn't watch my short video, you should. I'll put a link down below in the comments. So today in this video, we're going to go ahead and upgrade one. And I want to give it the full treatment, so without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do before we even put these trucks on is upgrade the bushings real quick. And I'm not sure which ones are on here, I honestly kind of forget, but we're going to freshen them up and put a new set on here. And I'm working on a new stock of bushings. I actually got a bunch of them right here ready to be packaged up. I want to film a commercial with them first though, so I'm going to do that before I package them. And so be sure to be on the lookout for those. I have some of them up for sale already, so if you want pink swirls, green swirls, blue ones, or lightwork bushings, they glow. Everything's available right now and in stock. Oh, we got a buddy. I don't know if she's gonna try and crawl up here. Here she comes. I'm sure you can see her in frame there. Hopefully she doesn't go on the desk. This desk is pretty messy right now. Now, one reason these China trucks aren't too bad is because at least they come with lock nuts. So you know your trucks aren't gonna fall apart in the middle of a sesh. All right. Oh, oop. All right. All right, so there's one nice fresh Tropics bushings on there. There we go. And I guess while we're at it, we might as well throw on the wheels real quick too. So I don't really have too many extra sets of wheels right now. I really only have either Tech Deck Performance Series wheels, regular Tech Deck wheels which are already on there, or these Street Dogs here. So I think you know, YOLO, we'll try the Street Dogs out and see how they feel. This one has a little bit of a wiggle. I don't really like that, but we'll see how it goes. I'll make sure I keep a close eye on it and make sure if the axle will slip at all. Probably take those wheels off and put something different on there, like some Tech Deck Performance Series wheels. Those wheels actually aren't too bad. They're really soft though, and the inner wall or whatever is kind of thin. So I've noticed one of my wheels, like one of the back wheels, that like gets this lot of wear and tear. The axle hole is like getting bigger now. Because of that, the wheel wobbles like really bad, which is kind of a bummer. But the material though really isn't terrible to ride on. Like it actually doesn't feel too bad. Like it does feel like kind of an upgrade compared to regular Tech Deck wheels. Imagine with bearings, they probably wouldn't be too bad. I thought about getting some bearings for them and putting them in there. These ones are much more snug, so it's a much better fit. I like that. So there we go. We got the trucks. I'm just not sure if these screws will fit, so we'll have to test that out, and then if not, I'll have to go dig out some of the shorter screws that these ones came with. But we'll get the grip tape and everything off first. So I got this Real Skateboards deck here. Thought it was a pretty cool deck, and so I chose to, you know, upgrade this one. And to get the grip tape off, I need to get a razor blade. So we grab that and I'll be right back. All right, I got a blade, and then just in case, I grabbed my tuning box, so I have my screws handy, which I'll probably dig those out real quick. But this will take a minute, so let's go ahead and get this grip tape off. I usually start here, because it's usually, like if you look, it's usually never really on that good. This one's actually on really good. Usually they have a little bit of a gap right here. And if you can try to like peel it. It didn't really work. You can try to peel it off in one piece. Sometimes you can. I like when they come with no grip tape. The Daewon Song one comes with grip tape off the deck, and then the grip tape it comes with is like really cool, like custom Grizzly grip tape. And I'm not really into grip tape too much. Doesn't really like, that's not really as grippy for me, but the Grizzly one looks really cool. I thought about throwing it on there just for the heck of it and filming an edit with it just because it looks cool. So this like white adhesive is always the hardest part. If you can peel it in one piece, it comes off super clean, but for some reason, if you like peel it off in pieces, it leaves all this residue. So I usually will grab some alcohol, like isopropyl alcohol, and like wipe the board down, and that'll take all the sticky stuff off of it. But it's not really too important because you're gonna put grip tape on here anyway, but it's just nice to have like a totally clean surface. Your grip tape will stick better to that for sure. All right, we're almost done here. The last bit's always the most stubborn. So real quick, I'm gonna grab some alcohol and wipe this down. This is what I used. And now we have a nice clean surface there. All right, so that's really the hardest part, is getting the grip tape off. Now that that's done, we can have some fun. I'm debating whether I should put the grip tape on first or put the trucks on first and then do the grip tape. They kind of do like full coverage. And then I'm selling grip tape too. So if you need grip tape, this is dollar tape. It's actually $1.29 tape. But I think I'm gonna do packs of it though. I think that'd be better. I'll do like a 3-pack for $3. So look out for that. Otherwise, it's up on the site right now for $1.29 a sheet. So I have a lot of cool small things that you should definitely add to your order. Bushings are like $3. Grip tapes $1. So if you grab an obstacle for $25, you might as well grab some tape or some bushings to go along with it, or a garbage can, stuff like that. These electronic screwdrivers are the best for doing this kind of stuff. Those little short screwdrivers are really annoying. So we're gonna go ahead and fully remove these trucks and replace them. So yeah, as far as budget setups go, this should definitely be an option. Tech Deck was only $2.99 or $3.99. These trucks were only $8, I think, from Chems, or just get your favorite, China trucks. The wheels, I guess the wheels would be the most expensive part of this deck because they were like $35, but just get your favorite budget wheels. You can get nice budget bearing wheels from Chems for like $6, I think. Yeah, and then trucks for $8, that makes sense. I suggest get the bushings for me, of course, but get the bushings from anywhere, get your favorite ones, the ones you like best. They usually aren't too expensive, $1, $2, $3, $4, something like that. And then, I don't know, what is all that together? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, like $22 if you go with the cheap wheels. Obviously a little bit more if you go with $35 wheels. Still, like, that's not bad at all. I mean, you can get Tech Deck at a store locally, so that'll save you shipping on that one. And then if you get the trucks and wheels from Chems, I mean, that'll save you. You can do all the shipping in one run there. I need to get bushings and wheels on my site. We used to have Abstract wheels, which are really good, but they all sold out. That's good, they sold out. And everyone they sold to was happy. Like, I didn't get any complaint emails, nobody had issues. Everybody who got them made videos saying how much they loved them, actually. So those wheels are so underrated, you guys. I'm telling you, if you haven't tried Abstracts, you need to. They're really good wheels. They're made in the USA. I don't know, I like them a lot. All right, now it's time to do the grip. I'm just gonna do the full coverage on here because why not, I guess. Got the trucks on, and then we'll test it out. I always put my grip on like this, upside down. I guess that'll work. And then kind of went too far to the one side there. Try to do it more centered, but I have the beveled metal file, so there'll be no problem with that. I use the metal file, and it makes things so much easier, especially this beveled edge here. You can get right into the concaves and just tear it right up. Not tear it up, but cut right through it. Just be careful, because I've been going too fast lately and stabbing the bottom of my deck. That sounded wrong. This is video magic. All right, there we go. Looking good. Now the moment of truth. Kickflip test. Oh, shoot. All right. What's up, Fingerboarding fam? So today, what's up, Fingerboarding fam? Today, I'm gonna show you how to make a silicone mold to make your own concrete obstacles. Let's get into it. So this is everything you'll need. You need a object to cast, then you need a big object, kind of a tub, whatever, to actually cast your object in. It's gotta be the same size as your object, but a little bit larger. And then of course you need some silicone. And I'm gonna use this Umu Smooth On silicone. It's about 30 bucks. You can get it at Blick Art Supplies, and we'll see what it does. And I'm using this I'm using this orange curb here that I got from Goofy Digits FB. Definitely check out their shop. They have lots of really awesome 3D printed fingerboard supplies. So the box I chose to use for my, to pour my silicone in, to cast my object inside of, it didn't have a flat bottom, but it had this flat top piece. So what I did is I cut it square and then fit it inside of the bottom of the vessel I was gonna do my casting in. So did a little bit of cutting and not a lot of measuring, just kind of some cutting just to make it, fit the bottom there, and got that fit flush. So from there, I actually took some double-sided tape and taped it, to those ridges there you see, and then I stuck my clear plastic piece to that. So then that would ensure I had a totally flat bottom to do my casting on. Now, I did take some painter's tape and I wrapped the edges to make sure no silicone, got underneath there, inside of there, didn't want to waste. And then from there, I took some more double-sided tape and I taped the bottom of my object and then taped that down to the floor. And then that would ensure that when I poured the silicone on top of it, that it wouldn't, start moving and going a bunch of places or floating up to the top or something weird like that. So here everything is all nice and secure. And now it's time to start getting into the silicone. And this is the really messy part. So silicone is a 2-part mixture, and you take both of them. First, you have to mix each individually quite a lot. And then you mix them together even more. And that leaves you with this kind of purpley liquid. It's very much like quicksand. That's what it reminds me of. And you want to totally cover your object. So of course, depending on what kind of object you're casting, you're going to use, more or less silicone. And then of course, depending how big your vessel is that you're casting in, that'll also do a lot of, depending. So about right here, I realized that my vessel was way too big, way too flippin' huge, and I was going to have to use all my silicone to get it to work. And I had this thought in my head, maybe I'll tilt it to one side and then tape it off, and then tilt it back and tape off the other side to make the area smaller. But that would have been a Herculean effort. So I ended up taking some extra pocket curbs and dropping them to the bottom on the far ends there, and that helped to displace some silicone and put some more on the top of the actual curb. And you can kind of see 2 of them there. From there, I put a tile down and then measured it on a level to make sure it was, at 0.0, totally level surface, and I let my silicone mold dry there overnight. So here I am the next morning, and I'm trying to get the silicone out of the plastic piece. I thought it would be a little more simpler, but it wasn't. I had to kind of cut some things and kind of break that plastic box open. I wanted to reuse it, be able to reuse it, which I probably still can, but I did do quite a number on it, getting the piece out of there. So got my huge silicone brick out of there, realized how much silicone I used and how much I probably could use half the amount, in a smaller vessel, but oh well, you live and learn. This is my first time doing this. So I cut off any of the excess, and then I poured some Crete. And as you can see, the first pour, a little bit too messy. I poured way too much. And let's see how they turned out. I'm pretty excited about this. Got one more drying there. And I got some other ones drying right here. These ones are almost good to go. Put a layer of polyurethane coating on them today. Just kind of finishing drying. It's still a little bit tacky. But the mold was a huge success. Couple things I could have done different. Let's go upstairs and I'll share with you everything that I learned. Okay, so super stoked with how this came out. Here's where we started, the 3D printed one, and here's where we finished off. Here is the concrete one. Had a vision, and here it is brought to life. It's so cool. A couple things I learned though. I probably used too much silicone. So you saw in my video how large my initial tray was. I probably could have made it like a bit smaller. So actually, during the creation of the curb, I kind of realized I was using like too much silicone. So what I did is I took some extra pocket curbs and kind of placed them on the far edges. And what that did is it helped displace some silicone and push some up. So then I had more on the top. That was my main concern. I wanted to make sure I didn't have just a thin layer, you know, on the bottom of my mold. I wanted it to be substantially thick. So that was a nice little hack that I did. But in the end, I probably just used too much silicone. I probably could have used about half the amount for my mold and did it in a smaller, you know, vessel. But you know, for what I had available at the time, worked out pretty well. And you can always hand make, you know, your mold shape too. I know some people will, you know, tape or, you know, take cardboard or plastic pieces and make a custom, you know, bath or whatever you would call it to kind of pour your silicone in. I probably should have done something similar, but at the same time, the Swiffer wet container I had was pretty much the perfect size. So worked out well. That's something to pay attention to is, you know, you want to make sure your container that you're making your mold in is bigger than your object, but not too much bigger. Then you'll use too much silicone. But in the end, this probably took like $25 worth of silicone, so it's not too bad. You know, but for next time, I think I could probably use that same amount and get 2 molds out of it. So definitely learned a lot. My first time doing it, and I gotta say, you know, for the first time, this came out really cool. Another thing is so silicone. So one more thing is silicone gets more expensive as it has more elasticity to it. And the type I used is a little bit like it tears easy. It's kind of a lower grade silicone. So my mold, if I tried hard enough, I could tear it right in half. So I got to make sure I be very careful with it. Even when I clean it, I was cleaning it earlier and I realized I was like kind of digging into one of the corners, and so you definitely got to be careful with that. But if you use a higher grade silicone, it'll be more stretchy and less prone to snapping and breaking. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But for trying it out for the first time, that Umu silicone did a great job. It was, you know, it's like $30 for the little set there of the 2 bottles, and totally did a good job. You can even still see like some of the some of the printing lines from the 3D print, you know, on the actual curb. So I mean, it picked up lots of detail, you know, all the detail that I would want it to. And these look super fun. Can't wait to touch it. I can't touch it right now though, because the clear coat is still drying. It's a little bit tacky still, so I'm gonna give it a little more time to dry, but I'll post an edit with it hopefully in the next couple days. So stay tuned, and also stay tuned on the website. I should have them up on the website hopefully this week, you know, coming up in the next couple days as well. So huge thanks to Goofy Digits, and Ryan has an Etsy store. So if you're looking for 3D printed objects for your fingerboard setup, definitely check out his Etsy store. You can Google Goofy Digits FB Etsy and it will pop up first. So my bad, I wanted to chime in real quick. I actually got that wrong. His Etsy store is called Future Bound Prints, all one word, but his Instagram is called Goofy Digits. And here's a look at all the colors they offer in their board rack. So I want to just chime in and clear that up. It's actually Future Bound Prints or Goofy Digits on Instagram. He sells lots of really cool stuff. Mailboxes, newspaper boxes, water fountains, weathered stuff, non-weathered stuff, all kinds of really cool, you know, fingerboard scale 3D printed objects. So check out his shop. He also sells board racks, which are very handy. Everyone needs, you know, some board racks, and they hold 6 decks, which is really cool. And they're nice and sturdy. It's all one piece, nice and solid. And definitely, if you need a board rack, check out Goofy Digits. So huge thank you to Ryan for hooking me up with this curb. I'm going to be sending a couple of these concrete curbs his way, along with a custom barrier, and those should be on the way this coming week. So yeah, that's about it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe, of course. That helps with the channel a lot. We're on the way to monetization. We're not close, but we're definitely on the way. So the more interaction you have with the channel, the more helps me out to keep creating content and bringing you guys cool, fun stuff. And of course, Hit up the website, anxietyoffline.com, for all your concrete fingerboard obstacle needs. And I got a couple sets of Grind FB inverted kingpins and lock nuts for sale too. So don't be late to grabbing those. Also, I got some fingerboard travel bags, lots of really cool stuff. So check all that out, anxietyoffline.com. And that about wraps up this video. So I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Hello everyone, I'm Anxiety Offline and welcome to today's video. This time we'll be discussing 5 different cameras you can use to film fingerboarding. Let's get into it. If you haven't seen my tutorial on how to film fingerboarding with the phone, I highly recommend checking it out. I have some great tips in that video and you can find it linked in the description below. Modern phones are great for filming fingerboarding. Most of the time they will even film your slow-mos in 720 or 1080p. Along with their picture quality, camera phones are very widely available, and I bet some of you are watching me on a phone with a camera right now. I don't have one of these handy, but another option would be a point-and-shoot digital camera. They come in almost every single range of pricing, but if you want one that shoots video, you're probably looking at spending at least $100. It would be a nice upgrade though from a phone, as you get a cleaner picture when you zoom in with a camera like this, as well as the fact you can dial in more of the settings and you have more control over your video quality. Next up, we have the good old GoPro. So this is a step up in price, but it has many advantages. The newer GoPros film in 4K or 1080p, and they have monitors on the back so you can see what you're filming without using the GoPro app. GoPros are nice because they're so small, you can get very unique angles when it comes to filming fingerboard. Overall, they're very useful and can be used for all kinds of action sports. Moving up, we have a beginner DSLR, like this Nikon D3500 right here. Now, this is definitely more expensive than a GoPro or a digital point and shoot, but you'll have more control over the video quality, including the ability to change lenses and manually control the ISO and the shutter speed. It's honestly probably overkill for filming fingerboarding, but it will result in some really awesome footage. Lastly, we have a professional DSLR, like the Sony mirrorless camera we got here. The footage you get from a camera like this will be unmatched in terms of cinematic quality and the amazing range of colors. Plus, you can shoot in super low light and still get some usable footage. To wrap things up, I'm going to leave you with one of my favorite quotes, and that is, the best camera is the one you have in your pocket right now. So don't get too caught up in having the perfect camera to film. Just get out there, have fun, and go film. If you have any comments or questions, please drop them below. I love hearing from you. And if you want more content like this, hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. I'm Anxiety Offline, and that's a wrap. Until the next take, keep creating and stay inspired. Hey everyone, I'm Anxiety Offline, back again today for a quick video. This time we're going to talk about how to maintain your fingerboard. It's important to do that to ensure the longevity of your setup and to ensure its optimal performance. So one super quick, easy thing you can do is get a piece of tape like Scotch tape, packing tape, or painter's tape is my preferred one to use. Stick it onto the grip tape and then peel it off. That will help remove any dirt or dust you might have stuck to your grip tape. Alternatively, you can get a piece of paper towel, put some rubbing alcohol on there and kind of clean your tape with that. That also helps as well. I do that about once a month or so. Next up, cleaning the wheels. So if you use urethane wheels, you might notice dust building up on the very outside of your wheels. So one thing you can do is tape some tape on your table, sticky side up, and roll your wheels over it. That'll help remove any dust or gunk stuck to them. So if your bushing is starting to feel like lifeless or not as squishy anymore, one thing I do is take the ones on top and put them on bottom, and the one on bottom, put it on top. In my opinion, doing that helps you get a little more life, more mileage out of your bushings. Next up, check all your bolts and screws. Make sure nothing is overly tight or too loose. That will help to prevent damage and ensure your setup performs optimally. Next up, the most important tip, wash your hands. It's important to have clean fingers when touching your foam tape or your fingerboard in general. That'll help any dust, dirt, or grease from transferring onto your foam tape. And that's always a really common question when I'm out with fingerboard homies when we go out to eat. Like after we're all done eating, it's like, oh yeah, can I see your setup? And it's like, oh wait, did you wash your hands yet? You know, it's like, yeah, definitely gotta wash your hands. You don't wanna touch anybody's setup with greasy fingers. It's just wash your hands, make sure you have clean hands when you're fingerboarding. That'll help your foam tape feel a little more grippier and just help your fingerboard stay more clean and gentle. So there you go. That's a couple ways you can maintain your fingerboard and keep everything running smooth. If you like content like this, like and subscribe to see more videos. Also, don't forget, I have concrete obstacles for sale at www.anxietyoffline.com. And that's about it. So, I'm Anxiety Offline, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Peace. Hey everyone, I'm Anxiety Offline, and today we're going to talk about how to create your own brand. This is a topic people ask me kind of a lot, and I've made this video a couple of times. I just didn't like how it turned out, but today I got some decent lighting, so I figure might as well just kind of get this one out of the way. So let's talk about how to create your own brand. Alright, this is going to be just like a pretty casual video, me just kind of like sharing what I know. I know I'm kind of chopped off there at the top, but I want to be able to fingerboard a little bit while we talk about this. So the first thing really is like if you got an idea for a brand, like just start creating. That's my first thing. Don't wait for anybody to like give you permission or anything like that. Just start making stuff. So really like don't think yourself to death. I mean, if you got a good idea, you know, just go for it. You really got to see what won't work to see what does. So pick a name, a color scheme, a target audience, and a logo. And a logo doesn't have to be crazy. I mean, some of the best logos are like just letters, you know? So, I mean, even if you just type something up that looks pretty cool, like, you know, just use that and, you know, just go for it. That's really the main thing. Like, if you got an idea, like, just you know, start making it. Don't wait for anybody to give you permission or, like, anything like that. Just start creating and start making stuff happen.
I wanted to break in real quick and just say something I forgot. Just make do with what you have. If you're not like good with Photoshop or Illustrator or photo, you know, whatever, like if you don't have any of those programs, but you need to make a logo, just like make do with what you can. Like try to find like a free app or something and put together some free text and then kind of just use that. Like whatever you make, you don't have to be like married to it forever. You can always like make something new, make something else fresher later when you learn like other skills or new skills. So don't let like a lack of skills hold you back. Like make sure you just like use what you know, use the tools at your disposal, and make the best with what you got. It's important to remember you can always change it later. You're not married to it.
So once you got the idea for like a product or whatever you want to make, the next step would probably be to like cover all your social media bases. So make the TikTok, the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, like wherever your people are at, like make accounts and start posting your stuff there. You want to test the waters with like a single, simple product. You want to find something that you can make fairly quickly and on a mass scale, and then make a trial run. But don't make anything in mass yet. Nothing crazy, just enough so that if they sell, you'll have some to ship out right away. But don't make your initial investment so big to where you're sitting on a bunch of product that you just can't move. So the next step is probably to create a website, and that can be kind of daunting and expensive, but Squarespace can help. And this video is not sponsored by them. I tried to get them to sponsor it, but I never really heard back. You can really use whatever website builder you think is best. The nice thing about Squarespace is you can know nothing about website building, and whether you want to build a gallery or a store or a blog, they can pretty much have you covered with all that stuff. So if your stuff is selling, then you want to work on a way to streamline your shipping. So order packing materials in mass, from packing supply stores or Amazon, wherever you can online. And then you can use services like Pirate Ship to get the best rates on shipping. Even if you save like $1 or $2, it adds up over time. Also, you want to look and find places in your area that have the cheapest bubble wrap, best place to get boxes, all that kind of stuff. Oddly enough, in my area, the best place to get bubble wrap is either going to be Home Depot or FedEx Kinko's. For some reason, everywhere else, it's way more expensive. Boxes, I like to go to Target. Target always has a great selection of boxes. They're very competitively priced, and you don't have to pay shipping if you go buy them in person, which is awesome. Also, tell your family and friends what you're doing, because they can probably put aside, their extra shipping boxes and all that good stuff. Paper, bubble wrap, anything extra they get from their packages, they can put it aside and you can reuse it, because recycling is always good too. It's working out? Great. Let's create some more stuff. If your stuff's selling and stuff's going good, then that's great. That's amazing. You want to at this point try to expand your product line, get some other brand's product in your store, whatever it may be. It's going to depend at this point kind of what you do or what your brand is, kind of what your next step is, but you want to just keep expanding. Make messes, make mistakes, get dirty, ruin something. Anomalies always lead to breakthroughs. So don't forget, I sell concrete obstacles on my shop, anxietyoffline.com. Definitely check that out. If you like content like this and want to see more, drop a like and please subscribe. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Yo, what's up y'all? Back again for a quick video today, and in this one we're going to be upgrading one of these Tech Deck bikes here. And I have a short video on these, kind of in my shorts somewhere. It's on YouTube and on TikTok as well. But I talk about how I found a bunch of them, but the ones I found didn't have pegs, and there's like a bunch of comments on there, people saying like, you know, they make them with pegs, and like, I know they do. But the ones that I found didn't have them, and I haven't been able to find any since that have pegs. But I do have this one, and I do have a bunch of things from my old BXS collection. And BXS was a line that was around. Actually, let me check. Let me get facts here. All right, so back around like 99, 2000, a company called Jakks Pacific, which they're still around today. They make a lot of like toys and things like that. But they did a series called Road Champs BXS, and these were basically really popular BMX bikes at the time, but scaled down, and they were really high quality. There were a couple other brands around at the time that also made miniature bikes, but these ones were like a step ahead. You know, they were pretty much all die cast, and they were painted. They were really, really cool. I was really into BMX, so I have a pretty big collection of them still. I'm really glad I still have them because they're super, super nostalgic. But anyways, that leads me to a point. I have a bunch of spare parts. So one thing I noticed is kind of the frame dimensions are fairly similar. So I think if we take like one front axle and one back axle, or maybe even two front axles, we can put them on this bike, and then you know, use it with pegs. With actual pegs, we can like screw in and screw off and put bolts on it, or kind of change it up or whatever. So I actually went ahead and took one of the wheels off already because I wasn't sure if the way I was thinking was going to work, and it actually did work. So what I did is I grabbed these pliers here, and these bikes have like one side that's like crimped, or it's not crimped. It's like I don't know what to call it. It's kind of a rivet, and then the other side's kind of just solid. So what I did is I took this kind of riveted side over here and just crushed it one way and crushed it to the other way. And then I was able to slip it through after doing that. So we'll try it again and see if it works. See if I can do that on camera. So crush it one way, and then kind of spin the wheel, or get it to where you can crush it the other way. And there we go. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but it went from being kind of all crimped out, now it's just really tiny. We should be able to grab this other side, and yeah, there we go. It slipped it right through. So now we got the back separated, we got the wheels off, and we got the frame. So you can't take the chain off because of the way it's kind of fixed in there. Okay, I got two front axles here. Sorry, I'm not sure how well you guys can really see those, but I'm gonna try and find some pegs, because the cool thing is you can kind of screw these in and off, screw these on and off. So there's more like customization. I wish they would make these again, or like I wish someone would make these again. These are really nice quality bikes. I just wish they were a little bit bigger. They're kind of like hard, in my opinion, to bar spin on. So anyways, let's go ahead and see if we can put this back together. And we're gonna do the bolt on the crank side to make grinding. Ooh, okay, so that's one issue. These holes are not big enough to accommodate these, but one thing I do have is a Dremel with some small bits, so let me grab that and we'll drill it out. And yeah, so anyways, we'll see if this works. We just need to do the wheels. The plastic's a lot easier than the metal anyway, and the fork, but the fork's plastic as well. So let's see if we can get this to work. Okay, there we go. I guess that did work. Okay, so now we can finally put it together. At least the back portion. We still gotta get the front portion together. Wasn't anticipating the wheel being the hardest part. This is gonna be really cool though, I must say. I don't want to tighten it too much, but I do want it to be snug. For some reason, now the wheel doesn't want to sit totally center in the frame. I don't know why that is. I mean, unless the holes are crooked, but that really can't be. We just made them wider. We didn't drill new ones. Let's feel a little more solid now. I'm not sure if it's like totally like, I don't know, something's not centered about this frame or about the holes or about something, but it definitely feels more solid. It works for like, you know, obviously like simple clips and runs and all that. So it does look really cool too. It looks like nicely upgraded, a lot cooler than it did. And these pegs are a lot more higher quality than the ones you find on the Tech Deck bikes. I think the ones on the Tech Deck bikes are plastic. And these are like real metal and everything like that. So of course I wasn't recording, but that whole back wheel thing was driving me really crazy, and I fixed it. I don't know if you can see that. My other camera died, but I'll show you a close-up, in the final thing or whatever. So stoked I fixed that. The way I fixed it was these old VXS bikes came with these spacers inside the wheels. You'd like put them in there, and then that would make the axle like fit perfect. Not sure why they did that, what they did. So anyways, I took a piece of one and cut like a tiny slice off of it, and then I put that where I sanded off some of the back wheel because I forgot I did that, and by doing that, I took off some of that surface area and pushed the wheel to one side. So by adding another piece of plastic there and kind of putting that surface matter back, I created that space again. Now the wheel is centered, and when you turn the pedals, the wheel spins. So now it's a little bit more set up for shredding, and it feels a little smoother too. So now I'm really stoked on this thing. I think it looks great, feels great, and it actually functions. And also, it's kind of cool. I saw Shins FB do this, but I put foam tape. You probably can't tell all the way from there. I put foam tape on the seat, so it looks kind of textured now. It looks really cool. Stoked how that looks. So without further ado, let's get some clips. Anyway, so it's been a couple days. I've been testing this thing kind of a lot, and I gotta say, it is super fun. These upgrades made a nice difference. These pegs are really like super solid. It's cool that they're all metal. The foam tape on the seat is kind of a nice touch. I mean, it doesn't really make a difference, but it just kind of feels cool. And then I also bar wrapped the handlebars, so that's kind of a cool little touch as well. So it's not the most solid bike in the world. The more I use it, the more this gets loose right here. The handlebars are really close to like coming off themselves, and I have to like super glue them or figure out a way to kind of secure them to the fork a little bit better. I guess we'll see kind of as time goes on, but so far it's worked pretty well. I got that really cool edit out of it. I've been playing with it kind of a lot, trying to get quicker at doing like bar spins and stuff, which you can kind of see, kind of getting a little better at it. So bar spins are super fun, even though the trick library or whatever on like a bike is like a little more limited than like a skateboard, like a finger skateboard. Obviously you can do a lot more tricks on a finger skateboard than you can a finger bike, but I gotta say, finger bikes are definitely challenging like in their own way. I think it's challenging in an aspect kind of to do tricks, but then it can also be challenging to make your tricks literally flowy and realistic and like make it look good. It's kind of like half the battle really. With fingerboarding, as long as you kind of land the trick with, some half decent finesse or style, like it'll look good. With this thing, like you're not landing, it's all controlled with your hands. So making it look smooth kind of takes a lot more effort. So I gotta say, like I think they are like a little bit laughed at, but they are fun in their own way. I've had a lot of fun with this one. The clips I got, I'm super stoked with, and overall, it's just a really fun little bike to play with. And the pegs make a big difference. These metal ones too just feel good on every surface. They're fun to grind with. They feel good on bricks, metal, wood, really anything you want to take it to. The pegs feel really cool. So I know these upgrades are probably going to be hard to do for most people. Not everyone's going to have like a supply of those 20-year-old Jakks Pacific spare parts, but if you happen to have those and you're wondering, should I upgrade a Tech Deck bike with those parts? It's definitely doable if you got the right tools. You need some smaller drill bits, and that's really about it, just the drill bits and the Dremel. But if you got that, then I say go for it. It's pretty fun. The cool thing about this is it's all kind of reversible. Obviously, I can't put the rivets back into the Tech Deck bike, but if I want to take off these pegs and put them back in my collection or whatever, it's totally doable because these things are very customizable, which is what I like the most about those old Jakks Pacific bikes. And in closing, I will say I really do like the Jakks Pacific bikes more. The fact that they're all die-cast, they have a die-cast fork, die-cast handlebars, and a die-cast frame. The only thing plastic on here, the chain ring, the crank is actually metal. The pedals are plastic, the pegs are metal. But yeah, for the most part, these things are really metal and they're really solid. This thing is like 20 years old probably or something like that now, and it feels just as good as it did back in the day. The only thing is, the Tech Deck ones have a little bit better of geometry on them, I will say. At least for my hands in specific. I can do tricks a little more easier on this one because the bars are a little bit smaller and the seat is a little more pushed back. At least that's how it feels. The Jakks Pacific bikes feel a little bit shorter, so when I have my hands on here, like, let's see, I don't know, for some reason it just feels harder to get certain tricks, but they do look a lot cooler, arguably. So I wish we could get one with like the Tech Deck bike geometry with the quality of the Jakks Pacific ones, because then that would be the ultimate finger bike. Honestly, that would be like really, really sick. But not sure if that's going to happen. So in the meantime, you know, these do work. They are pretty sick. I'm stoked with how good I'm getting at the bar spins, honestly, when I can kind of get them down. But yeah, it's super fun. Really fun little upgrade. I'm glad I did it. I'm probably going to mess around with this thing a lot more from now on. And I want to find more of these things. They're just hard to find in my area for some reason. They're like always sold out. Can never find them at any of the stores. But yeah, that kind of about sums it up. If you have any questions on these Jakks Pacific bikes, drop them below in the comments. I'd love to answer them. I could probably answer most of your questions. I have a pretty decent collection of them. These were awesome. These were really cool. This is like mid-school BMX, like at its absolute finest, boiled down into toy form. This is a Haro Blammo here. Not sure you guys probably can't tell, but anyway, if you got any questions, drop them below in the comments. I'll definitely answer them for you. See you in the next video. If you need any concrete obstacles, bushings, small items, cases, anything like that, hit up anxietyoffline.com. I got a bunch of awesome stuff in stock right now, and I'd love to get you laced up. So that's about it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.
Hey everybody, I'm Anxiety Offline. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Create Your Skate barrier mold to create a barrier from start to finish. It's a really awesome mold. I use it a lot for all kinds of things. It's really useful too. It's not just the mold, it comes with an actual case. I'll show you how to keep that fresh, you know, how to maintain it, and just how to use the mold in general. So it's a really cool piece. We're going to create a barrier from start to finish. So we'll be creating one of these right here. They're super fun to sesh, very versatile. They're great for all kinds of things. And you can do so much with this mold. It's pretty cool. So let's dive into it. Hey everybody, this is Anxiety Offline breaking in here again. Don't forget, I have a website, www.anxietyoffline.com. So check that out. If you want some really cool custom artwork, concrete obstacles, definitely hit me up. Or if you just need some fresh bushings for your setup, I have them available in a wide variety of colors. So check me out, anxietyoffline.com. Let's get back to the video. Real quick, I want to talk about some of the add-ons this mold comes with. It comes with this piece as well, which you put these inside the mold when you make it. So it fits in there just like that, and you pour your concrete right over it. And what this will do is give you a slanted barrier. I'll be honest, I don't use this piece too much. I feel like when I do, the barriers don't really come out perfect. They need like a lot of sanding, and I'm just not like a big fan of it. I actually have a separate mold just for creating half barriers, so I kind of use this more than I do use this, but it's super useful to have on hand. It also comes with these two pieces here, and what these are angled barrier ends. So you put these in like so, and you can use one or you can use both or one, and you can flip them and reverse them either way. And with that, you can create a wide variety of slanted barriers. You can connect together easier than creating like, you know, concrete patches in between. You can actually just kind of put them right together and put something, you know, in between them to kind of hold them together, and they'll be good. So those are angled pieces, are super helpful to have, and I have as well. We're not going to use these pieces in this video, maybe in a future one. So if you want to see how these work, let me know, and I'll show you in a future video. But for today, we're just going to use the mold as is. And this mold is really cool because it comes with this case here. And I've made a couple molds, and I bought definitely a wide variety of molds. A lot of the molds I bought don't come with any type of case. And for instance, this one is pretty flimsy. It could definitely benefit from a 3D printed case, but it didn't come with one. So it's pretty cool this does come with one because it does hold up really well. And I'm gonna show you a couple things about it to kind of keep it maintained and keeping it fresh. So concrete is gonna build up on this. Doesn't matter how neat you are, you're probably gonna spill eventually. And I've had this one for, I don't even know how long now. I think maybe a year, over a year, something like that. So it's pretty beat up. I'll do a close up of it so you guys can kind of see, but you can use the tool, you can use it like itself to kind of help it stay clean. And what I mean by that is, what I usually do is if I get concrete building up on the insides, I'll take one of these edges here and just go like this. And that seems to kind of get rid of anything kind of hanging on in there. It's a little bit harder to get these inside pieces, but you can do them the same way. And then these tops here, I usually just kind of rub them together. You don't want to go too hard on them because they are plastic, but just enough force to lift off the concrete. And they are pretty strong, so if you get like a lot of buildup somewhere, you can knock them together. Not too hard, but just enough, and that'll kind of loosen up some concrete as well. And they are notched on each end. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. I'll try to do a close-up, but the notches line up, and then it closes perfectly. And then it comes with 2 clips. So you clip these on like that. And that is the case. And I gotta say, this thing is super useful. This mold is pretty expensive, but this really helps justify the cost, in my opinion. The mold itself will stay pretty clean. It's made from a really high quality silicone. There's no imperfections at all in the mold. There's 2 lines on each side to kind of tell you when to stop filling, but that's really objective in my opinion. It's a nice thickness too. The bottom isn't terribly thick, but because it's so strong, I think it should hold up for quite a long time. And the walls are fairly thick though, so that's really nice. And it's definitely made from like a 3D printed piece or something that's very, very perfect. And then I usually put that flat on my ground. And one thing you want to make sure too is your ground is totally flat because the bottom is a little bit thin. So just make sure your ground is cleaned up. I usually take a piece of old concrete. I have like a piece of wood on top of my table here. Take a piece of old concrete and just get it all level again. And then I have a level here on my table as well to make sure that where I'm pouring is level. So I put the piece flat and then I put that right over it and sandwich it down. So I'm gonna mix up some concrete and then I'll be right back and we're gonna fill this thing up. All right, I got some concrete mixed up and we are pretty much ready to pour. You want to use some type of mold release agent whenever you pour concrete and silicone. You can use it without it, but I don't know. It won't. The mold will stay nicer if you use a mold release. You can use a lot of things: olive oil, dish soap, isopropyl alcohol, a mix of a couple different kinds of things. I usually use like half dish soap, half alcohol, and that seems to be a pretty good mix. Spray it so it's all, spray it pretty thoroughly. And then put it back in place. Then you're all good to pour. So take your concrete. And like I said, the fill line is objective, so I usually fill above it. And just go in nice even layers. And there we go. And it's nice that it has that hard case because you can actually just pick it up. And then you see some overflow coming there. It's all good though. I just kind of push it back down and I can clean up the rest later. Here I'm just trying to get rid of some bubbles. And if you're really concerned about the overflow, you can just get some water and give it a quick wipe down. The water will definitely help it come loose later. And you're all good. So I'm gonna pour the rest of that concrete. I'll be right back. Yo, so real quick, people ask me a lot what kind of concrete I use, and if you're using molds, the concrete type doesn't really matter because it's going to fill in the mold no matter really what it is, but you definitely want to use something with a little bit less aggregate, less rocks than normal. So one thing I always recommend to people that are brand new is Cement-All. It's a totally powdered, like it's way broken down concrete. Definitely wear a mask when you use it because it's going to make a lot of dust. But it will fit to the mold very well. A lot of crafters use it and hobbyists alike. So it's a good kind of cement to kind of start on. So they have it in the Home Depot cement section. You get it like in a box. I think it's like 25 bucks for a couple pounds or something like that. So definitely check that out if you're kind of a first-time cement pourer. As far as mixing goes, you want to use like a third a cup of water to every cup of concrete. Double check me on that, but that's about what I use most of the time, I think. I don't know, I have 2 measuring cups in each thing. You want to mix it to like a thick batter consistency. It shouldn't be too watery because then it will crumble and break apart. But it shouldn't be too thick where you can't pour out the bucket, obviously. You know, so you want to do something like that. So let's get down into the basement and see how the barrier that we poured last night turned out. Hey everybody, so it's been a couple days. I'm back again to finish up this video. I kind of forgot about it, got busy filling orders and things like that, but I got a bunch of orders come in for barriers, so I need to kind of get this one out and get a bunch of other ones poured, so let's go ahead and do that. So here is our piece here. It's been sitting in the mold for days now, so I know for sure it's done. The one thing you want to make sure when you use this mold that your piece is dry. It's probably going to take like 24 hours depending on your concrete mix to let it fully dry in the mold. And you want to avoid taking it out early, because if you do, it won't come out fully. A lot of it will get stuck kind of in the mold, or some of it will get stuck in the mold, and it'll be left with a really rough, uneven surface on top. So definitely wait till it's fully dry to take it out. So the first thing you want to do is unclip your clips here, and that will release the plastic piece that it's in. You can kind of put those aside or whatever. And then here is the mold with the barrier inside. So just kind of pop your piece out. This one's been in there for a while, so it's nice and smooth. I've learned that kind of the longer you leave them in there, the smoother they get. Obviously you don't want to leave them in there all week or whatever, but once it dries, if it sets in there as well, it comes out a little bit better, I think. So there is our barrier right there. That's the piece we poured into the mold we made. It's not done yet though. I like to apply a little bit of clear coat onto these to make them kind of smoother. I really prefer the lacquer clear coat, but this is white, ignore the white. But if you can find the 2X enamel gloss, that's also a good alternative. I prefer the lacquers because I feel like it cures or dries a little bit better on the concrete. No matter what you choose though, make sure you go in a large amount of even coats. So what I mean by that is spray a little bit at a large distance away, probably like a foot away, spraying it. Get the other side from a nice distance away. You want to make sure you evenly coat it, but you don't overcoat it, and let it dry, because that first layer is going to sink right into the concrete. You're really not even going to see that it kind of even was there. Give it 5-10 minutes, let it totally dry. Then do the same thing again, and do, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 even coats from far away, getting it nicely sprayed. I would demonstrate that for you, but it's super cold and rainy outside, so I'm going to go run out and do this in the garage super quick and run back in so it can dry. I will say with the clear coats, or no matter what paint you use really, make sure you have it drying or curing in a proper temperature. So I think for these it's like above 55 or 65 degrees. So right now it's too cold. If I were to paint this or clear coat this outside and let it dry out there, it would not come out right. That clear coat would reseed to certain areas. There'd be a bunch of little circular areas that are bare. Sorry, the dryer just kicked on. This would not turn out well. So make sure you let this dry or cure, whether you use paint or clear coat, in the proper setting. That will make a huge difference in your grind quality and just kind of your overall finished product later. So like I said, I'm gonna go apply some even coats to this real quick outside, come back in, let it dry, and I'll show you how it looks after a couple layers of clear coat. Okay, so I got the first coat applied here. I'm really not sure how well you can see that, but I think it appears a little more shinier on camera. It's gonna dry, so it won't dry that glossy, but got the first coat on there, nice even layer, didn't overdo it at all. If you overdo it, that's okay. Let it dry completely, sand it down, and then just redo it, or just pour another one. That one can be a blem, whatever. So let's let this dry really good, and then we'll apply one more coat of clear coat, and this is all done. So that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for sticking along with this journey. I know it's been kind of a longer video, but I got a few closing notes for y'all. Make sure you clear coat the bottom of the barrier first.
So put it on its side, apply 1-2 layers of clear coat, then put it bottom side up or bottom side down rather, and clear coat the rest of your piece. This mold is awesome. It makes the process very, very easy, very effortless. I love having that 3D printed shell to kind of go around it. Helps keeps things in place, helps keeps the sides straight. And overall, I think it's an expensive piece, but it's definitely worth it. Now, when it comes to doing graffiti on your concrete obstacles, I either use acrylic or oil-based paint pens, but really anything permanent will work. If you're finding the marker you're using is getting dried out or is not marking the surface like very saturated in a saturated way, what you want to do, take it outside, apply some more clear coat, let that dry, then you'll be all good. The surface will be a lot smoother and the marker will take to it a lot easier. So let me know, would you try this process? Do you have any questions? Let me know below in the comments. And don't forget, I sell a whole array of concrete obstacles, everything from barriers, manual pads, ledges, bricked obstacles, and fingerboard bushings. Check out my site at www.anxietyoffline.com. That brings this video to a close. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I really do appreciate your time. So stay inspired, keep creating, and I'll see you again soon. Peace.